Some days
Hello and
you
welcome to the
tired.
Graveyard Media Podcast, episode 65 for the week of November 5th, 2018. I'm your host, Saine Grey. With me is Dalsson.
Hi, I'm writing a tweet.
And Thel.
I didn't get to finish the thought that I started before the podcast began. Sometimes you're so tired that you just have to rearrange your whole ass back.
Is that why you were mumbling when I was introducing the podcast?
No, that's what I was mumbling while you were introducing the podcast.
Okay.
I see. Alright, so we're going to talk about the games and movies we've checked out this week, and then afterwards do some game and movie news. So instead of screwing around, we're just going to go right into it because
We have a lot of shit.
there's a lot
We
to
have
talk about this week.
So much shit.
We got so much shit, I ain't even changed my background back. We still horror movies.
That's
Wow.
fine. That fits our theme. Whatever.
Yeah, fair enough.
All
I
right,
don't watch a horror
so
movie, but you know.
who wants to start this week? What do we got?
Del does. Del wants to start
Okay.
this week.
I'm gonna start. I did a gosh darn few things. Aside from the things that we're gonna have like multiple people talk about. Man, which one of these fucking things should I start with? I guess I'll just start with Dusk. It was by all technicality the first thing that I did sort of on my own. I played a game called Dusk. It's a game that's like Quake or Painkiller, and also possibly Doom and or Hexen and Haxen, even though it doesn't have all them fucking pixel graphics. It's got them 3D graphics. And yeah, it's good. It's good at that. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to say, or fortunately, because we have a lot of stuff, because it just does everything really, really well and nails the feel of those old games. It has bosses that are fun to fight. You shoot them and then they die. And the level design is really, really good, which is where a lot of the knockoffs of these really fall off. But the level design, more than any other game, definitely reminded me of Painkiller. It goes above and beyond in announcing that it is like Doom 2, and Quake. But I was like, wow, feels like Painkiller.
I first
yeah.
heard it compared to Painkiller, actually, when I
Yes,
heard
it is
about it. So
Painkiller.
Painkiller is a game that was made fucking a million years ago. It was made in the 2000s when that sort of genre had died a little bit. It was a game where you ran around and shot dudes. It was fun as heck, and I liked it.
have you played Hexen?
No.
Have
I
you
don't think
played? Okay, I don't know. It's basically like it's sort of like an arena shooter, but it's kind of a wave-based thing too. Does that make any
Okay.
sense?
so. Yeah. Okay.
It's not really wave based. It has like levels and stages and stuff.
Well, yeah, but
Well, that's
Hexen
what.
is, right?
Yeah, that's what Painkiller is, though. Like, you go into an area, you go to a level that's like its own map, and then you kill everything for a while, and then when you go to the next map, yeah, so
Sort of.
it's not like linear the same way something like Doom is, or at least I don't.
No, it is. It has like linear levels that you go through. I don't think it has like keys and stuff, but you still have like a direct line through all of the levels. Like each of them, you go through them.
In Painkiller or Dusk?
Yeah, in Painkiller. At least the first one. I don't know if they changed that.
I don't remember. It's
Huh.
been a long time since I played Painkiller.
There's like 15 of them, and I've only played the first one. That's called Painkiller.
I think there's 3 of them, but
There's like 3 of them and like 2 expansions or something.
well, that's how
I don't know.
Hexen was anyway.
Right. Okay.
That's definitely how Hexen was, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, I said Hexen and Haxen. Oh, Haxen being that fucking 1920s documentary on witches. If you've ever played that, you'll know what Dusk is about because there's cultists and stuff.
I haven't played that one, unfortunately. I haven't played that movie.
Yes, you have.
It was the first video
Yeah,
in
I
our
probably
witch
didn't- I
our
probably
witch
didn't pay
marathon.
attention to it. I don't
Anyway.
think
No,
I
you
started
paid
paying
attention. It
attention-
was the witch. I don't know. You paid attention to it because it was so ridiculous. Anyway,
I think that the only witch movie that I paid attention to was The Vitch.
Witch.
you're awful. awesome.
So yeah, anyway, game is very good. All of the items, there are some things like you can pick up. Now, when I say items, I don't mean like items that you can pick up and then they put in your inventory or whatever. I mean, there are like bits and pieces of things on the ground. Like there's a bar of soap you can pick up
And throw.
walk around and then just toss at someone like you're fucking using the gravity gun, and these things on the ground are more deadly than any of the guns you have, and that's hilarious.
Oh,
So that's fun.
so I have a decent segue from that if you're through with your thoughts on that mostly.
Okay, I have another game, but go ahead.
I played just now Prey,
Oh yeah.
which is exactly what Thel was describing. You can pick up things and throw them at things, and I never did that because I forgot that you could.
And it doesn't really hurt them that much unless you have leverage.
I see.
Unlike in Dusk.
So, my thoughts on Prey are, man, was it a pain in the ass to get running. Apparently, they recently broke the game to a point where if you are not using low settings on your textures, it just flat out doesn't work. According to the Steam forums, anyway. And
I was looking, and it looks like it might just be for streaming, but I don't know.
Okay, maybe that was it. But yeah. Anyway, the low textures don't look that bad, even though I'm forced to play with them, so I'm not really that concerned. Additionally, as far as the game itself actually goes, man, was I having fun. I think I just got to the very second area of the game, but like the sense of dread and paranoia that you get just from having the idea that a mimic could be anywhere, it creeps up on you, and then there's nothing. And then you're walking around and you start to relax and you forget. You're like, oh, okay, no mimics. And you open a door and you see a dead guy sitting there. And you're like, aw, that guy died. Let me just, oh shit, it's a mimic! And that's it.
Let me just pick up his gun. Oops.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The first time I found a gun in the game, I was like, oh god, finally a gun. And I reached for it and it turned into a goddamn mimic. I love this game. I love the atmosphere it creates just simply by having the main enemy be something that can turn into a prop hunt prop. Like, and that one mechanic is just incredible, and it makes the whole game just so much fun. I also like running around and finding key cards and stuff, but you know, that's...
Watching you play is kind of hilarious to me because you play so differently than me.
I just go kind of fucking Rambo.
Like, like, in fairness, he's making a lot faster progress than I was, but, I would slowly walk around, and I never really had a situation where I was fighting many mimics at a time. At most, it was, like, one or two.
Right.
He ran into, like, just the center of a room, and, like, 6 mimics attacked him from all directions, so, like...
Well, I didn't run into the center of a room. I walked into the room, I saw all the mimics scatter, and then I panicked. I was like, oh shit, the mimics are everywhere. So I started running, and because I started running, I think they all saw me. Like, what it was supposed to do was tell you, hey, there's 6 fucking mimics in this room, go find them. But what actually happened was I panicked, and they all attacked me.
It's also just a little funny, like, you know, you first walk into that one room and then stuff is like exploding in the background. Dalsson like looks away from it, like walks away while it's all happening over here, and he's just like, what's this over here?
What? Wait, what? What fucking explosion room?
No, there's a... I don't want to give away like what happens, but when you first walk into this one room, there's like explosions happening outside of the window in the background, and you totally didn't even notice and walked away from it. Oh. I still think you don't know what I'm talking about because you never noticed it blow up.
I don't know what... Was it during the intro?
It's why the elevator is busted.
Oh.
Remember how the elevator is busted? It's because there was explosions and shit outside. You just totally didn't notice.
Okay. I see. Well, yeah, that's sometimes how I play video games. I'm like, wow, look at that vista. Ooh, a piece of loot.
Yeah, I don't even know what you were doing or what. Like, you started looking at a door keypad or something, I think. So I don't know.
Oh, good.
It's just funny to see other. It's just funny to see other people play a game totally different from you.
Played and you know what it is. Yeah, especially a game like, you know, System Shock, BioShock, or Prey, where they can be so vastly different in experience. It's good shit. I think this is a good streaming game. I'm really enjoying it, and I plan to stream it more. So what was your other game, Thel, that you said?
My other game, which I don't have very much to talk about because one, I only played like one game of it, and two, it's like 3% finished and is basically a proof of concept currently. Executive Assault 2.
Deltarune.
No. Executive Assault 2. It's a game. All right. So you know how in fucking. Oh, wait, no, that's a really bad way to start this. No, that's not the right word either. You'll have to excuse me. I need to get my brain together. You know RTS games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're aware of them, yeah.
Unfortunately.
This is an RTS game that's it's got some pretty simple stuff going on. You know, it has a really, really basic tech tree. It has like base building, and the general idea of it is you play as a CEO of a corporation, and you got to keep yourself from getting killed, but also kill the other CEO. What's really interesting about this game is that you can spawn a ton of robots to protect you. You can spawn a ton of spaceships. You can build up your base and personally control all of them, every single one. From
So
the
it's
giant fighters to the tiny little dudes on the ground, you can personally defend yourself with your own gun, or
So
personally attack your own enemy.
So it's an RTS game.
Basic, sort of.
Oh, you mean like
When I say personally, I mean like you can go and first-person shoot as one of your dudes, or fly
Oh,
around and spaceship shoot as one of your guys.
That's really
Personally control.
cool. I see.
And his first one did this concept and did it really, really well. And the second one got my interest because it's the same thing, but in space with spaceships. The spaceship combat is very, very basic, as is the first-person shooting, as is everything. But as a proof of concept, everything fucking works. You can play a whole ass game. There's no goddamn tutorial, so you got to figure everything out yourself. But you know.
So is it like early access or?
Oh, it's early access. It's
Okay.
like turbo
It's on
early
Steam
access
now?
right now. Yeah, it's on Steam.
Okay.
But yeah. Everything fucking you can do all of the things that he said you can do, and they all like
Just work.
It all just works. It's all seamless between it. You're walking around your spaceship. You have like a big overview of your spaceship. You can tell your dudes to go to a place, then take control of the dude in front, run with all of the dudes, take down whatever the fuck ended up in your goddamn docking bay with yourself, with your army of dudes you built. And fly around. If a spaceship is attempting to dock, you can fly one of the little ships to blow it up, or fly one of the big ships as one of the tiny guys in the big ship that can get invaded.
So what you're telling me, Thel, is you can assault people as an executive.
Pretty much. You can also just get on one of your spaceships after having docked as your player character and then tell it to move somewhere.
Huh.
Which is dumb and you wouldn't want to do it, but you know.
Cool.
But yeah, it works. It works as a proof of concept, and I'm really excited to see this game grow into like a video game.
A good game.
Yeah.
Or like a whole game, I should say. Because
A whole
from the
game.
sounds of it, it's already a good game.
Yeah.
Good idea for a game.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, that's all I have to talk about that. Unfortunately, again, it's like 3% done, so
Right.
they got the basics of what they wanted to do, and now they just gotta make the fucking game.
Did you have anything that you checked out with aside from the two big ones that we have, Saine?
Video game wise?
Yeah.
Not video game wise, but I can talk about something I watched.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I have something I watched too, but that can.
Oh, actually,
no,
did
fuck
you
that.
guys say that you watched Chilling Adventures of Sabrina too?
We did not.
No, we did not.
unfortunately.
Okay.
We watched Daredevil.
That's probably a better choice, to be honest.
Oh no.
Okay, so first of all, the show isn't bad.
Okay.
So like, I don't mean that in that it's like Sabrina's just totally not worth watching, but so I think I'm only 3 episodes in right now because I started watching Stranger Things
Okay.
And I watched all of Stranger Things in this last week. Again? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stranger Things is still good. But
Yeah.
Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, so it starts off a little weak, I think. I think that the writing's okay, even if the dialogue is like, there are points in time where it's like adults trying to write teenagers. So it's not awful, but there is a little bit of it. You can tell.
Right.
And the acting starts off kind of bad as well. Especially for Sabrina, but like, as some of it's like, is she acting kind of poorly because the dialogue here is really weird because of what they're having her say, or what? But that starts to iron out after the first couple episodes. That gets better. So I think it's a little bit of the actress warming up to the role and the writing. I guess, I don't know, the actress getting used to the writing. I don't know what it is, but it was kind of wonky at first.
Right.
And it's like a really weird take on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Like, we were talking about how we were really interested because it looked like a darker take, but it's definitely a darker take. I don't know.
What I was afraid was that it would turn into something like True Blood, you know what I'm saying?
Well, okay. It's not cheesy at all. Like, they totally play it straight.
Okay.
Even when they have like jokes and stuff, they aren't like super corny jokes. They're just like jokes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little bit of like romance stuff going on because the main character, or Sabrina's interested in this guy named Harvey, and like part of the central conflict is that she has to choose between being a witch and being a human, or a mortal, I guess. And a lot of it has to do with she doesn't want to leave her boyfriend, like straight up.
Right. She's a teenage girl, though. That's not unreasonable.
She's Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That was sort of one of the core concepts of the previous show is, am I a teenager or am I a witch?
Yeah, but in that it was like, there wasn't people saying you can't be immortal. Like, you can't hang out with humans anymore.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I don't know. It was... I'm still planning on watching more of it. It's been a really crazy week being Halloween week, so I haven't had time, honestly.
Right.
Understandable.
But I am planning on going back to it. I've just had a lot of stuff come up. But man, though, like, there's an episode where the fucking devil is there. Like, like, there's parts where characters are having like visions that are really fucked up. So one of the things I want to mention, though, is like, all of the characters from the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch are represented here. Except for like one major change. They split Salem into two characters. So in the original show, Salem was a warlock who was, as punishment, like forced to be a cat, and the cat lived with the Spellmans, right? So this one, Salem is split into two characters. There is a different character whose name I forget right now because it's a weird name, who is essentially like the guy who was Salem's voice. And then there's also now a familiar of Sabrina who is Salem, named Salem.
Does he talk?
Yes and no. So
does he talk like Garfield? No.
He doesn't talk like Salem used to.
Okay.
Not the same way.
Okay.
He is essentially a demon in cat form.
Okay.
So the only point in which he actually talks so far that I've seen is when he first like had a pact with Sabrina. And he's like a fucking horror monster, like a Cthulhu horror monster that hides behind this screen and then pops out as a kitten. And then like later on, like they do a good job because you can tell that he's CG, but they always keep him really dark and hidden and not very like obvious. And even in other scenes where he's doing things, it's like you see his tail go by and then he fucks shit up in the background, and then Sabrina comes over and it's like the cat is just sitting there. So I don't know, like they do a really good job of not overutilizing CG for him.
Yeah.
But like he's, I don't know, it's kind of cool actually how they did it.
It's really strange that they would do that with Salem though. Like I guess it makes sense that she gets like a familiar, but why even like if they're gonna change Salem the cat, why even bother having the warlock man?
I think the reason why they did it is because Salem was a very well-liked character in the original series, but he doesn't fit the tone. Because Salem, as in the original series, was a super sarcastic, like always joking. Like part of the humor surrounding him was that like he would often, as a cat, be like covered in bathrobes and like have towels on his head like has hair. Like so they all did all of this like physical humor with Salem, which just wouldn't fit the tone because they're trying to play it straight. I don't know, like, so they split it into this other character who is kind of like Sabrina's cousin, who gives her like advice and support, but also
that was another thing that Salem did
but also he's not supposed to leave the property because he's like in trouble or something.
He's in witch jail.
Yeah, basically he's like part of his deal is that he's on witch probation. Part of his deal is he has to stay on the property and he can't leave. So I don't know. And like as a result he's able to do more things and like do magic and stuff. Yeah. Whereas old Salem, like part of his deal was he couldn't. Like that was part of him being trapped as a cat.
Was he technically capable of it and he wasn't allowed to, or
no, he was not capable. I believe he was incapable of doing magic.
They took away his magic power.
Yeah, because I think like even
I suppose
the stakes,
if they didn't take it away, he could just turn back, right?
Even this, well, yeah, I guess even the stakes of who he was a little bit different. Like old Salem was a super evil wizard who like killed people and stuff, trapped into a cat's body, and he was kind of a joker. And this version, it's like the guy, you don't really know why he's in trouble. At least I don't at this point. But it doesn't seem like it's that bad or like that big of a deal. I don't know. So I don't know. It was just really interesting that they split those characters up for me because Salem was my favorite character in the old show.
Obviously.
Oh yeah.
For multiple reasons. I thought he was just really funny, but I don't know how well it ages because I was a kid then. But yeah, I don't know. I
hate Sabrina the Witch. Of course, they're all Sabrina the Witch. It's the only show that stars Salem the cat.
Basically, yeah. I don't know. I plan to go back and watch more. They kind of resolved sort of a big conflict in the third episode, so I have no idea where it's going next.
Interesting.
Like they have references to all sorts of shit that's kind of hilarious. Like, of course, all of the characters acknowledge that when, like that she says, "Oh, my familiar's name is Salem," they all go, "Seriously?" And she's like, "He named himself." So I don't know. There's other like they talk about banned books and they talk about like. Remember the lawyer who won a chess game with the devil, like Webster or whatever?
Yeah.
He's a character in a couple of episodes. So like,
good.
I don't know. It's all pretty interesting. Like, if nothing else, it's really interesting to compare it to the old Sabrina the Teenage Witch, just because the tone of the show is like completely different. And I was like seeing the trailer, I was like interested because it seemed like it had more influences from like other things, like actual witch stuff. But like I didn't realize the extent that they were going. Like they basically don't even pretend that these characters aren't, literal devil worshippers. So
I see.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really weird. I might talk about it more as I watch more of it, or I might not, but that's all I have to say right now.
Okay.
I definitely recommend it, though. It's definitely interesting, especially if you're not super bothered by like teenage romance stuff. Like, it's definitely not the same as something like the originals or True Blood or any of those, but it definitely has tones of that in it. So
right,
it almost seems like more of an action drama though than a romance drama, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, what else do we want to talk about?
Daredevil.
You want to talk about Daredevil?
Daredevil before we get to the stuff that we all done.
Okay.
Daredevil season 3 is fucking fantastic. God damn.
It's great.
God damn.
All they had to do was move away from the Hand and move back to Wilson Fisk, because Wilson Fisk is one of the most interesting villains that comic books has ever had.
Well,
that's not
that
true.
TV...
Wilson Fisk is that particular version of Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
Is the most interesting villain that comic books has ever had.
I wouldn't say that comic books has ever had, but definitely that any of these adapted series have ever had.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember back when we talked about Luke Cage season 2, and I was like, remember last time when I said what would be better with Luke Cage season 2 is if it were just The Wire and Luke Cage showed up sometimes? Remember back last time when I talked about Daredevil season 2, and I said this would have been just better if they focused on all the lawyer stuff that Karen Page was doing and didn't focus on Daredevil? Well, guess what they fucking did? It was great.
Exactly what they did. It was just The Wire and lawyers, and Daredevil was there at like the last episode.
Daredevil was there to fuck shit up on accident.
Yeah.
And when I say fuck shit up, I don't mean like beat the shit out of people. I mean like make dumbass mistakes.
Yeah, ruin everything that everybody else is doing.
Foggy Nelson and Karen Page.
Yeah.
Daredevil it was actually really fantastic with the way that they sort of did. Like, Daredevil does make a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of dumb shit. And Foggy Nelson and Karen Page are always like constantly like, God damn it, Matt, why the fuck do you have to do all of this? And it's very obvious why Matt has to do all of this. He is afraid that Kingpin is gonna do some bad shit, and Kingpin is doing some bad shit. But I'm gonna be 100%. I'm gonna reveal his big plan. Kingpin's big plan is to get out of jail. He doesn't like set up some sort of
big
fucking,
plan. No. That's not technically accurate. He's already out of jail. He's under guard and whatnot, but he's gotten out of jail. He lives in a penthouse. Like, that's not even a spoiler. That's the beginning of the season. That's like how it sets up.
Yeah.
His big plan is to get married.
Yeah, that's
his big evil plan. He wants to get married.
That is the big thing. The big thing that Daredevil interrupts in the very last episode is Kingpin's wedding. Kingpin wants to get back with Vanessa.
And that's what he's been setting up the whole fucking...
However, Matt Murdock constantly in his brain has this fucking, like, Kingpin Tulpa walking in. I'm just gonna kill all your friends. I'm going to destroy everything you ever loved. You have to kill me, Matt! There's no other way! And Matt's just constantly struggling with that. Meanwhile, we have a legitimate schizophrenic guy that fucking, he's a psychopath. That Kingpin has lured into being a altered Daredevil to make Matt Murdock look bad. And he's also a fucking fantastic character.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a side plot about Foggy Nelson attempting to run for what is it?
District Attorney.
District Attorney, thank you. He's trying to run for District Attorney because the current District Attorney isn't doing anything about putting Kingpin in jail.
And he doesn't even plan to win. He just wants to get the word out about Kingpin.
Yeah.
And use the DA, elections as a platform.
And we get a whole ass episode about Karen Page's, a Hicktown backstory. That's the best episode in the series.
Yeah, it's great. I wouldn't say it's the best.
I really like how they handle Karen Page, not just
or
in the show in general.
Yeah.
And her
great.
being on Punisher was actually one of the best parts of Punisher as well.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Oh god. It's
Punisher was also really good. I feel like Punisher doesn't get enough credit, but it was
Yeah.
really good.
yeah. I feel like like at the time when I watched Punisher, I was like, oh, this is my favorite thing in the new Marvel Cinematic Universe. But then like as I've seen Luke Cage season 2 and Daredevil season 3, I'm like, fuck, dude, they sure are just stepping up their game with everyone. This is up there with Luke Cage season 2. It's incredible. It's really really good. Daredevil season 3 is fucking fantastic. It's wonderful. I can't give it enough praise. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Even with the plot points we went over, we may have gone into a little bit of spoilers, so we probably shouldn't talk much more about it because we're not going to be able to help ourselves to spoiler more of it.
Yeah, I already feel like maybe you were getting there.
Yeah.
Maybe
We did, but
maybe
thankfully-
people would have been upset with how far you've gone, but I think that you're probably fine.
If you actually watch it though, like those are minor plot points. Those are like the plot threads where they start,
Yeah.
and that's about it. So
And it is crazy good. I love all of the new characters they added. They added like 2 FBI agent characters who are wonderful.
yeah,
Both
basically
of them
the whole
dealing with
season
problems.
you just are watching moves in the great game, like
Yeah.
from every perspective, and it's great.
and that's it's like and it's crazy to think how absolutely insane everyone is trying, like to what lengths everyone is trying to go, right, to stop Kingpin when his plan is, I just want to not be under arrest anymore. I want to see my wife.
Well, he's doing other bad.
I mean, he
things
also
too.
wants to be the kingpin of crime, but
He very much does want to be the Kingpin of crime.
But all of these machinations that he's doing currently are mostly in play to just see Vanessa.
Yeah.
So
in the short term, maybe it
Yeah, in
isn't
the
super
short term.
evil. But in the
Yeah.
long term, he is still Kingpin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's very much like he's probably going to do evil stuff if he gets back as the Kingpin of crime, and he does
if he
do
gets
some
back
evil
together
stuff.
to his bad influence, Vanessa.
Yeah.
You know what sucks?
And he.
You know what sucks
that?
about Iron Fist being like a train wreck? That like because Iron Fist went into the Hand's backstory, it sort of inadvertently fucked up the Hand as like a concept in the show, like in all of these shows. Like I think that it probably would have been better to, like, if they handled Elektra better in Daredevil, to spin her out in her own show and talk about the Hand that way. Instead, they fucked up the Hand in Iron Fist, and Elektra crowded Daredevil season 2.
Yeah.
Which I think they could have recovered from more easily than the way they fumble Iron Fist.
Yeah.
They should have just left the Hand for Defenders, like, period.
Yeah, they
Well,
wanted to do
I don't
they
know.
did want to do the Marvel Cinematic Universe thing where they sort of set the villain up and then go into the thing where they fight the big villain. That's sort of what the Hand was.
I mean, it
Yeah.
definitely makes sense for the Iron Fist to do the Hand,
Yeah.
like as the central villains
yeah,
of
yeah,
Iron
yeah.
Fist. It's just stupid that they fucked it up so hard.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like, because the Hand, like in Daredevil, they talked about the Hand all over the fucking place in season 1. Like,
Yeah.
but it was always like little hints and crumbs and breadcrumbs and stuff. It was never like, they didn't really go into it much, other than a little bit with Stick, and Madame Gao was there, right? But they didn't talk about who she was or whatever. They talked about who she was in Iron Fist, which fucked everything up.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I just think they're not going to touch the Hand again, which I probably good for Daredevil at least.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
for the best.
Yeah. And hey, I mean, they are definitely back on an upswing. They had some problems when they were trying to get to Defenders. They were a little bit rocky, but
It almost
now they're
seems
back.
like this might be the end, because if they're not, like, there might be another season of Jessica Jones, and after that, I don't think there's plans for anything else so far.
Yeah.
they do
Except for
have
maybe
plans
Daredevil.
Yeah, another Daredevil. Yeah, And it
Have
does
they
suck
said
that
explicitly that they are doing another season of Daredevil, or is it just like
I
everyone
think they've
expects
said
it?
that they have explicitly previously said that they were already working on this, but this was before Iron Fist was canceled and before Luke Cage was canceled.
Right.
So it very well may be the end. And I
Yeah.
mean, if it is the end, then they're going out strong, which is nice.
Yeah.
Would this be a satisfying end if it was the end?
There is like one thing that they sort of let with Luke Cage, they left it like nebulous whether or not it could be an ending,
Yeah,
but
they
in
left
this
it
they
open.
left like a specific plot thread that was like,
Okay.
this is a teaser for the next season because this villain is going to show up. I don't know who the fuck he is.
I don't
I don't know nothing about
remember- I
Daredevil.
don't remember
Is it
that.
Bullseye?
I don't know, maybe.
I don't- when was that? Was that at the
it was like the
end?
very last scene that happened. With the dude getting the operation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There is a very famous Daredevil villain named Bullseye, and I heard stuff about Bullseye existing in the season, so that's why I was
Maybe.
wondering.
I
Maybe.
didn't.
It's certainly possible.
if you're curious who Bullseye is, he's a guy who throws things really well.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
his ability.
Yeah.
That's the fucking guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
He
it
does
is
that
okay.
all the fucking time.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gotta be
yeah.
Do you remember the really bad Daredevil movie that was starred
Affleck?
Ben Affleck? The
Yeah.
villain in that was Daredevil.
Bullseye.
Bullseye, and he was the guy who was like throwing playing cards and killing people with like spoons and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I didn't connect that because I didn't remember who Bullseye was or know who Bullseye was, I guess. But
Yeah.
he's pretty much throughout the whole season.
Okay, that's
and he
cool.
throws shit all over the place.
Because
Yeah.
Bullseye
I
is
just
like a
didn't- I just
very
didn't know it was Bullseye.
yeah, he's a pretty well established Daredevil villain. Like
He's also
he's essentially
also-
Daredevil's arch nemesis.
I see.
He's great
He's
in
a
this show.
phenomenal character.
He's really fucking good. Straight up.
He was kind of his arch nemesis before people realized like there was a really good run on Daredevil about him fighting Kingpin.
Oh,
so like ultimately Daredevil's like biggest villain was Kingpin because it was such a good run on his comic book series. But but Bullseye is supposed to be his like actual like super villain arch nemesis guy.
right.
Yeah.
Like his Joker, although even not to that extent, but
Yeah.
Right.
let's move on. There's at least okay. Do you want to do Deltarune or Fallout next?
Let's do Deltarune first because I feel like it. Well, I don't know if it'll be shorter, but let's do Deltarune first.
Well, we're gonna try to spoil as little as possible about it, right? So
Yeah.
it probably will be short.
It probably will be very short.
Which is weird because you can't really talk about it very much without doing some spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And especially like different people consider different things spoilers.
Yeah.
So just to set up what this game is, Deltarune is somewhat like some form of sequel or continuation of Undertale.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. It has a lot of the same Undertale characters.
Well,
It
it's
might not
like
necessarily
yeah, that's
take
why I
place-
said
Yeah.
sequel
Some sort
or
of
continuation because there's some connection for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems almost like it's a direct sequel based on certain elements of it.
Yeah. Well, I like people feel that way. It's all up to speculation. I don't know.
Yeah, at this point
Well,
it's all
but I don't know. I mean, sure, but there's some pretty big hints that, like, not only does it take place after the events of Undertale, but it takes place after the events of, like, the true ending that you get when you do a genocide run and a pacifist run, based on some of the things that show
Well,
up.
at the end of a genocide run in Undertale, the entire world blows up, so it definitely doesn't
Yeah, it's
take
not
place
that.
after
Yeah.
Well, wasn't there, like, some
At the
version
end
of the ending
true
where...
pacifist run, they all get out from underground.
Yeah.
And for example, Asgore has the same outfit that it showed him in the end cutscene of Undertale.
But isn't there like, don't you have to do like a
No.
maybe not a genocide run, but at
You
least a
don't have
bad
to do
run to even get Azrael out of
No.
being...
Not necessarily. You can do it all in one run.
Okay.
It like says New Game Plus, but really you just continue. You have to go back a couple of saves in order to get the true ending, but you don't.
Well,
have to
it immediately puts you like at that specific like save point where it's like, okay, just go talk to this person, and then you'll start off whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And it
Well,
starts you
anyway.
like right outside like the temple, and you just have to walk back and talk to the person, and then you start
Right,
up
well,
the
yeah,
next
that's-
part of it.
It's whatever. Anyway, about Deltarune though.
Yeah.
Well, either way, it does seem like some form of continuation.
Yeah.
If not of the specifically Undertale story, it's definitely like connected in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But very ambiguous at the same time.
Yeah. Especially with the fact that Deltarune is like a what is that word? A word that is has the same letters as another word.
Anagram.
Deltarune is an anagram of Undertale, which is another one of the fueling theories that's just a completely different universe. Also, I think Toby Fox said something along the lines of it's a completely different universe, but you know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like those characters, some of the characters experienced a lot of trauma that they just don't seem to have, like Toriel, for example.
And also, all of the characters have different relationships to the other characters. Like Hattie and Bratty don't even know each other. Alphys and Undyne don't know each other, etc.
Yeah. And also, there's at least some level of like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the frame story, or are we talking about the story that happens within the frame story? Because there's essentially two stories going on.
Yeah. So like the frame story is you're just a kid who's Toriel's son and you go to school. And then after that everything goes nuts. Like you
go into to spoil as little as possible. You go into a closet, and then in the closet it is essentially the frame story of a different story that happens between two characters.
Yeah. You meet,
and that's what the meat of the game is.
Yeah. You meet a cast of great people. It's kind of like, it's similar to Undertale. It has the box where you dodge little Tuhu attacks, and you ideally want to like act and make friends with things and dismiss them from combat instead of fighting them. Sometimes you'll have a character with you who will refuse to make friends and will just fight. So it's like you have to prevent the enemies from dying to that character before you can actually save them.
Yeah, you have to either let the character know that they're gonna get their fucking shit smacked, or you have to just do like this anti-DPS check where you like make friends with all of the characters before one of your party members murders them.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting in that it was kind of an evolution of what Undertale kind of was. The best parts of Undertale were when they took what essentially the combat system essentially and changed it based on what you were doing at the time or who you were fighting. And it took it to kind of a more extreme place where not only was it changing during boss fights or whatever, it was changing all over the place. Different characters did all sorts of different stuff to it, to how you even interacted with the game. But it was a demo. It was supposed to be the first chapter of
what may become something bigger.
Yeah, supposedly. I think Toby Fox, the developer, said specifically that it was like the first chapter is like, I think that was what his words
I think
were,
at the end of the game it said that was the
end of the first chapter. Yeah,
end of first chapter, and then that was the end of the game. It just closed.
Yeah.
I heard you shouldn't uninstall it. You should just delete the folder because
using the uninstaller bad.
Yeah, apparently the uninstaller will delete other files potentially. So like there was some sort of oversight with how it worked. So just be careful, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
So I don't know.
And of course, that good Toby Fox writing comes back to shine and has So far as I've seen it, it has reminded everyone that, oh yeah, that's right. You know, the Undertale fandom has some bad stuff in it, but Toby Fox is actually just a really good writer, and he makes great characters, and I do love them.
And a
so-
fantastic musician. The
Oh
music
yeah, and a
in
fucking
Deltarune
fantastic musician.
definitely holds up.
Although
Mhm.
I definitely was a little bit disappointed because with the music in particular, because my favorite part of Undertale was the boss battle themes, and there was a lot less of that in this one.
Yeah,
There were
but
also
then there
a
was a lot less of
battles,
game, you know.
boss battles. So
Yeah.
like,
There were less boss battles. There were like 2 particular themes that I remember, but other than that, like it was just kind of like normal background music, which is still good, but it's like not what you think of when you think of Undertale's music.
Yeah.
So,
Like when I was hearing Hopes and like every time I hear Hopes and Dreams, I still tear up a little bit. So like not because I'm like, oh, that's so sad, but because it's just like so intense, the music itself. You know?
I don't feel that way at all about that song, but yeah.
Well, you know.
I don't know.
But yeah, so I see what you're saying. I thought the music was really good. You know, people like to compare Undertale and Lisa. This game I felt felt a lot more like Lisa than Undertale ever did, too.
I don't remember.
Like,
I
just-
don't remember.
Oh
what
well,
Lisa
yeah,
is.
yeah, possibly even if because
Just from,
of
like,
the combat, yeah.
aesthetic and feeling, yeah, the combat, like having.
I
party members and
wouldn't
stuff.
say the aesthetic and as much. I do know that one of the reasons that a lot of people will obviously compare them is because they were both taking huge influences from Yume Nikki.
And Earthbound.
And Earthbound, exactly. It's like a combination of those 2 games, but in very different ways.
Yeah.
Like Lisa goes into Yume Nikki in like it goes more deeply into the Yume Nikki side with the story and the atmosphere and how you're supposed to feel about the game, whereas Undertale goes more on the Homestuck side, but they each have little bits and pieces of both of these things,
Right.
which are they make a great combination. Really,
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, they're both really good.
I would say this one and this Earth or not Earth Deltarune
Yeah.
seemed more like Earthbound than Undertale did, though, based on
Yeah.
one specific part of it.
I hate that I'll fucking have to bring this up, but if we're gonna be comparing it to it, a lot of like the story beats, specific, very very specific things, and the fact that Toby Fox had apparently been working on this for as long as, if not longer, than he had on Undertale. It's fucking. This shit reminded me a lot more of Homestuck than I want to talk about. This motherfucker brought me to a bad place. Homestuck. Jesus Christ. Some of the music even was like, oh wow, yeah. Is this just Vriska's theme from Homestuck?
No, it's not, because that was in Undertale.
Ah, yes, it sure was. Toby Fox, fuck you. I don't want to go back to this place, you bastard asshole. I'm gonna make a whole ass video about your goddamn game, piece of shit. I love you. Fuck.
Anyway, we've reached
Yeah,
the
I
point
think
where
what
we
Thel
started
just
to
said
talk
is-
about Homestuck, so it's time to move on.
Definitely.
So we're going to talk about
Yeah, I
Fallout
think,
76.
Everything that Thel said pretty much sums up my feelings on Deltarune 2. Toby Fox, I didn't want to go back to this place. Fuck you, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked the game, but yeah.
I really liked the character.
I like the writing, yeah.
yeah.
The writing and the character designs are always the best part.
Yeah.
Anyway, Fallout 76.
Okay.
Yes.
I want one of you guys to start so that I can get a springboard.
Okay. I thought it was okay. I was, you know, I feel I'm a little bit afraid that you might not get your $60 worth, but in the beginning there's stuff to do. There's like side quests and stuff that are that keep the game from just being go to abandoned house and shoot Mr. Handies. There's a main quest that you can follow, which is good. And it has better gunplay than all of the other Rust likes I played. I don't really see any point in building a base. I only played for like 2 hours, but it seemed like this game would be more fun if you were just running around nomadically. So I don't know.
Well, okay.
It's pretty okay.
So here's a couple of the things about that, though.
Huh?
It's not a Rust-like. It's not like Rust. It isn't.
Yeah, I
And
wouldn't compare
building a-
that at all. Like, I think if
building-
anything, it's like Fallout 4 without like
NPCs. of any-
NPCs. Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's like Fallout 4, but it's like well, what it feels to me like is they looked at like Ark and Rust and were like, wow, a lot of the things about these games are unfun intrinsically. Let's fix these and do it with Fallout 4. And they just took all of this stuff and it's like, okay, so we could put these in, but if we did that, it would be not fun in this way, and this way that are very fucking plainly obvious. So we kind of gotta take those out. And they might be fun in the other Fallout games, but in an online setting like this, they definitely wouldn't. So
like what?
like for instance, NPCs and direct RPG sort of system.
Right.
Like the NPCs, if you got quests from NPCs and they work the same way as like Fallout 4, people would just run around and kill them and you wouldn't be able to get to those quests, or you wouldn't be able to do this, or people would just steal from them and then you do all of the stuff and they try to like it would generally be people online would be a giant dickhole to the NPCs, and then some people who wanted to do the stuff with the NPCs wouldn't have any fun because that
Wouldn't be able to
jackass
do it.
fucking murdered them all. The
Right.
general RPG stuff would be terrible because someone would just be stronger than you no matter what, or kill all of the mobs in the area because like it would just be like a lot less fun than it would be if you were running around.
It works like that a little bit. Like your
yeah, a
level
little bit.
your level determines the gear you can use mostly.
Yeah.
So somebody might have a gun that's flat out better than yours. Now that being said, as far as PvP, I don't want to go too far into PvP because I have different thoughts on that. But as far as PvP goes, your levels get semi-matched. So
yeah, they scale and stuff.
they
I don't know,
scale a
like
little bit. Now hold
Yeah,
on.
my thing is,
I
it's
wanted
like-
also to address. You said you didn't see much point of building a base. Your camp, you can move it at any time. You have to pay a few caps, and you just move your whole base.
Okay.
yeah, but that doesn't. But unless you are interested in engaging with that for the merits of just engaging with that, there's no reason to. At least to the
Yeah.
point that we played. Granted, we
Yeah.
only got to
Well-
level 5, so like
Yeah,
let me
so
finish
we
my
didn't really
thought
do
before
all
you
that.
interrupt.
It's quite useful to me because I've gotten
Okay,
to
we're
the
not.
like I've found plans and stuff where I have the ability to build crafting benches, so I can just build crafting benches at my base and then move my base when I need to offload stuff and craft and whatnot.
I mean,
which is a
like, yeah, from
Huge
the
step up from Fallout 4.
from the base, the bare bones, like, I need a spot to scrap all of my stuff, make a couple of adjustments to my weapons, and then keep going. Yeah, but
You can also fast travel.
Not if you're over encumbered.
That's true, I suppose. But I feel like at that point you could just drop something.
well,
Well, you
either
don't
way,
have
I mean, what you're talking about though, Dalsson, is not base building. What you're talking about is having a collection of crafting tables that you
Yeah.
can pull out of your pocket. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
like unless
Yeah.
you're intrinsically interested in building a fort and having like a thing and building a castle because you think that's fun, then
Right.
there's no, at least from what we've seen, no real point to it. That being said,
Right.
I don't really care. Like,
Okay.
I don't think that it's really a bad thing or a good thing that you don't
Yeah.
need to, because
Yeah.
I would be more upset if I was forced to engage with it.
Yeah. Like in
So-
Fallout 4, you were very much forced to engage with it, and that wasn't a lot of fun. But it sort of gave you like incentive to do it because it's sort of like ostensibly you could fucking recreate the world and like rebuild society. You're not really doing that, but
Yeah,
you
the
could-
thing
you
is,
could-
if
yeah.
you didn't engage with that in Fallout 4, you had 2 towns to choose from, and they were right next to each other. So
yeah.
Well, not exactly right next to each other, but
yeah, they were pretty close though.
like
Here's another thing that the base building is good for in Fallout 76. There are scattered around the world. There are workshops which you can claim and take control of. So that is something that you would want to build up a base around because you can put down resource extractors where you can like mine iron and stuff and get more materials. Which even those materials are useful for repairing and upgrading your guns and armor and stuff. So it's not just getting materials for the sake of doing building for the sake of getting materials. Those materials will help you in other ways as well. Just the other day, I was playing a game with another streamer, and we took a fort, and then we were like, okay, that's cool. Hey, what's this power box? And it says power box. Go take this workshop, and you'll have power to this power box. So we went and took a workshop over at a power plant and fixed that up. And then our workshop had a bunch of free power for turrets and stuff. So those workshop bases also have this interconnectivity. So there's some interesting stuff going on with that workshop base building defense thing.
Sure. Yeah,
So
I don't know.
If your base gets attacked, can you just move it?
Well, your camp wouldn't really be attacked. There's no reason to do it. But the workshop
got attacked by NPCs and stuff.
No, your camp doesn't. Those
Okay.
workshops that I was talking about, however, do. If you hold on to them long enough, they'll start getting attacked by raiders and super mutants and stuff. So that aspect of the game, I think people could find enjoyable. My favorite part.
Well, let me talk about my feelings, because
Sure.
I was trying to go into something, and before you kind of stepped in there. So I haven't played a ton of it. I'm only level 5 or something, but it kind of crystallizes what I liked about Fallout, and that's scavenging and going around and looking for stuff and going into random places and finding things. And I think that's something that this game adds that normal Fallout is actually really missing. And this helps a lot is the event system. Randomly you can get I don't know, radio calls or something that are saying oh, Mr. Handies are going crazy in this area, go kill them and then do this and do that. And that stuff is interesting to me because it increases it has something, it's a reason to do something, I guess, more so than just randomly scavenging. But I also do enjoy the kind of scavenging aspect without the punishing parts of other survival games, because I wouldn't even in a weird way, this doesn't feel like a survival game. It feels like a scavenging game, which I think the difference is a minor thing, but I think that really helps for me. I enjoy it a lot better.
Right. So here's the thing though. You said in other survival games. Now I know for a fact that the number one thing you hate about other survival games is food and thirst meters, and that has both of these. How do you feel about the system as it's implemented in this game?
But that's the thing. It works a lot better than I think most of the other games do, because you have it in other survival games, at the end of it, food and water is literally all you're doing, and everything else is just superfluous that's there too. Something like Rust or any of those, you kind of build weapons to protect yourself, but really you build weapons to protect yourself so you can go find the resources that you need to make yourself have food and water.
Right.
And ultimately, the end of it is just trying not to starve and dehydrate to death. This game is different because it feels like when you're scavenging for a purpose, but it's not something that is so detrimental that is the purpose of what you're doing.
Plus, it's a survival in a lot of survival mode in other Fallout games where it's pretty likely that you're just going to find the stuff that you need to eat and stuff while scavenging for other things.
Well, and that's what I mean. If you're going out, you could be going to look for aluminum because you don't have any aluminum for repairing your stuff. So you're going to look for aluminum, and while you're there, it's oh, here's some dirty water. I should pick this up so that later on I can convert it into boiled water so you can purify it and all that.
Right.
So it's you there will be times where, oh no, I have to drink this dirty water because it's literally the only water I have, and it gives me radiation, so I have to look for radiation chems to like deal with the radiation, which could make me hungrier, which I did, so is some of that interplay between the different bars or whatever. But I think that the way that they've done it is really balanced in a way that isn't just like, I need to find water or I'll dehydrate, and the only water is bad water, so I have to go through all of these steps to deal with that, know? So it doesn't feel like you're constantly chasing food and water. It feels like food and water is a consideration that you need to think about when you're doing what you actually want to do, which is killing things. So that's why I think it's just a lot better than basically any survival game that I've tried, because it's not a survival game, it is a scavenging game.
Right. That the particular food and water system, and this is a result of it being based on the survival mode of other Fallouts, but also when you have high, like when you're well sated and well thirsted or whatever, like when you have your food and water meters are full, you actually have bonuses. It's not just something that you're like, okay, well, I have to keep it above 0 and that's it.
Right. Which, I mean, like, in a way, you're incentivized it just to get it as full as possible when you can anyway, but... and plus, on top of that, something that's kind of huge is you have, if you really don't want to deal with it, you have ways to mitigate all of that shit. So if you really don't want to look for clean water, you can take Lead Belly, which reduces the negative effects. And you can take things that increase how much food sates you, so you can look for food less. So, if you really don't want to engage with it, just put all your points into endurance, So, I don't know.
Yeah. And then endurance will have other bonuses. That's another thing I like a lot about this. I didn't know how I would feel about it. Because
when I heard about the perk card system, I thought it was an amazing idea from the get-go, but
I didn't know how I felt about it, because even in Fallout 4, like, there was the special system and you built your character with the perks. And that's how you built your character. I really didn't like in Fallout 4 that they took away the skills in general, but it didn't wind up feeling that bad. There were just a lot of other problems with Fallout 4. After having played with the perk card system, I really like how it feels, because you can kind of mod your character on the fly, for one. Although I think that also runs into some problems where, like you were saying with endurance and Lead Belly, you could just ignore radiation, right? Well, oh no, my water's getting low. I'll take off my strong back perk, become over encumbered for a little bit, put on the Lead Belly perk, drink all this water, and then put strong back on. And but you can do that, but
you can, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, because ultimately it turns it into a process. You have to go through the steps to deal with it if you really want to maximize it, right?
That's true. Yeah. I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, most people I would assume don't, and you can't do it in the middle of combat, or like, especially in a multiplayer game, if your friends are running away while you're like, hold on, I need to take 5 minutes to change my cards, drink 10 things of water, put all of my cards back, and then follow. So like, I do agree. So I don't know. I think that the perks card system is a good refinement of the way it was in Fallout 4 for a multiplayer game. I don't think it would really work as well in a traditional Fallout game, but I do even think it's better than the way that Fallout 4 had it. So if I had to choose between this system and Fallout 4 for Fallout 5, let's say, I would probably rather have the perk card system, as well as maybe like skills again. I think that removing skills from Fallout 4 was a bigger mistake than how they changed the perk system.
Right. Yeah. I really like the perk decks that you get, because so what they said from a design philosophy about it when they announced the perk deck thing is every couple of levels, if you don't know, every couple of levels you get a perk deck or a perk card pack that gives you 5 random perks that you didn't invest into. And what they wanted to do with that was give you perks that you may not have otherwise even tried. And they said that in playtesting it did really well, because there were people who got perks that they wouldn't have even tried, like a charisma perk that gives everybody on your team 10% gun damage. And he's like, I wouldn't, the playtester said, I would not have even tried this, but after getting this card, I started putting points into charisma because I wanted to see what else that tree of stuff had to offer. So it's a good idea, right? But I think that it almost is a band-aid for another problem in that you don't know what perks are there, what perks are tied to what special stat. Like, I still don't know whether I want to up my agility or my perception in order to get sneaking perks. Because
I think that this problem is two things, and I think that they shouldn't change it, and the reason why is because I think for some people, they would prefer to have it be random because you get the, I don't know, kind of fun out of getting a random pack of cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like looking for different things. And as you can always check, even if you don't commit to it, you can always check which one they unlocked for you at the next level, because they do give you more choices, and you can look even without confirming. And the other thing is, so there's that sense of like discovery for people who want it, but also when the game comes out, there's going to be a wiki with all of the perk cards. Like, if you actually care about how you want to pre-plan your build, you can do that too. Like, it's just not available now because the game's not out yet.
Right.
Plus, it gives the ability for them to add stuff later. Like, and that's one of the bigger things. Like, if they decide that certain things are, like, they can balance individual cards pretty easily, but also if they want to have a huge content update and add a new system, they could add a new system with a bunch of perks to go with it super easily.
Yeah.
So I think that
true.
having it,
they don't have to like fit a perk into a special number like they would have in Fallout 4.
Right. So I almost feel like the way that they're building this game is for them to staple more content on over time, and it might be free content, because if people are interacting with the microtransaction system, and if that's successful for them, they might just want to add content to keep people playing.
I want to talk real quick about the microtransaction system too. What it seems like it's all cosmetic stuff for like your building.
They've said that it's all cosmetic.
There's a thing in the game called the Atomic Shop, right? And you buy it with special whatever Fallout bucks. And from what I can tell, I don't know if this was just for the beta so that people could like test that content as well, but from what I can tell, you can buy the Fallout bucks, or you can also get Fallout bucks by doing in-game challenges. Like, get your, in New Vegas, it was get your explosives to 100.
They have said that everything in the shop you can earn by playing the game. So that leads me to believe that either you can find some of this stuff in the game and buying it is just a shortcut to that, or for the cosmetic part, or I guess those challenges would allow you to get it that way.
Right.
So it seems like kind of a Guild Wars arena net approach to an extent.
The challenges are repeatable as well. So, or some challenges, like some of the challenges are kill a particular type of enemies 76 times, and you can repeat that ad nauseum, and it gives you like 10 fun dollars. But if you do it enough,
and then there's like the first time you kill 10 of a creature, then you get points. So they have like an achievement system with this repeatable achievement system bolted on to the store. So it seems like the more you play it, the more you could buy some of this stuff, or you could just buy some of the stuff with money. But it allows for a system that allows people to put money into it without feeling that detrimental to anyone else.
Right.
So I think it's a good system.
Yeah. It also, like, if you want to grind for those points, it'll increase your playtime, which will be like good for
helps the ecosystem of keeping people in. So, because the benefit of keeping people in the game is it makes it more fun for the people who do spend money. That's why you always have this grind or money thing put together.
Right.
Or typically you do.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like exclusive stuff in other games, but it really depends on the game. But
Yeah.
I think this is a really good way to go for them, especially if it leads to them doing like added content, like
free content.
Yeah, free
updates is what
post-release
we may get
content
out of this. So
yeah, it is Bethesda, so it could go either way. Maybe they'll do an expansion, maybe they won't. Like,
well,
I
it's
don't
likely
really
that
know.
they'll do expansion packs. They almost always do expansion packs, but
well, paid expansion packs though for a game that is an ongoing service, it's kind of a harder. It's more of a toss up. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And especially like, I think paid expansion contents often don't work when it's supposed to be an ongoing game. This is one of my biggest problems with Destiny. That's a game that really doesn't need expansion packs, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or it's certainly not once 3 months after launch, but that's a different story.
Right.
Every
World of Warcraft expansion takes like a year or two to come out, and then but WoW's in its own zone, so like
yeah, and I think that the difference between World of Warcraft and most of these other ones is like, I guess it really depends on how you add stuff. If you're just adding additional content in the world that already exists, that feels like it should be free. But if you're adding
World of Warcraft, every time they do
if you're adding new zones and a new campaign and a new areas and classes and that sort of thing, like Guild Wars is the same way.
Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire was 2 new world spaces.
Yeah, so I didn't really feel burned by those, even if I thought Heart of Thorns wasn't that good, but I didn't feel like it was an unreasonable thing to ask money for. But, you know, Bethesda has run into issues with trying to monetize some of their stuff in the past, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty optimistic, because I think that they made smart decisions about it so far, so I hope that they continue to make more smart decisions.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think this is going to replace a traditional Fallout game, and I don't think they've talked like it will either. So I'm not afraid of this replacing Fallout 5 or next Elder Scrolls or whatever, because it gives people a multiplayer Fallout without being a Fallout game.
Yeah, without taking a mainline Fallout title and shoehorning multiplayer into it. And that's one of the things that I did want to talk about specifically with Fallout 76. I have always been against the idea of a multiplayer Fallout, because I didn't feel like one of the things that I like about Fallout is the feeling of isolation and exploring things.
I mean, you can be isolated and you can be isolated and lost with a friend.
I feel like the one, like even 2-player co-op would have, if you were to take Fallout New Vegas and add a 2-player co-op into it, there's so much that would have been ruined by the experience of not being purely alone. And
I don't see how, because I always had Boone with me. I always had Boone with me. If you played Boone, then it'd be fine.
I always had like at least one companion.
Okay, well that's
depending on how many mods I downloaded.
Well, that's a point. I hated going with companions because it took away that feeling. I would take either Dog or Eddie if I took a companion at all. Rex was his name in New Vegas, and that was because I didn't feel like I was alone, and that was an important thing to me in Fallout. But
I mean, even if they had shoehorned multiplayer, you could just not play multiplayer.
It's true,
so
right. So with Fallout 76 though, I still get that feeling of isolation when I'm playing solo. I have not had a chance to play it like specifically with another person yet. But I still get that feeling of isolation even when I run into other players, because it's like running into a guy, like just an NPC in Fallout, except, you know, I know there's a real human intelligence behind it, but it feels a little bit like running into an NPC. You're alone, you're exploring, and suddenly this guy comes up behind you and you're like, "Oh, hey friend, how's it going?" And then you just start talking to him. And it's not like it's not like you're trying to experience a story and the multiplayer takes away from it. I think that the way that Fallout 76 is designed works very well, especially with the very, very low player count servers.
I think it was a smart decision, yeah.
Yeah, you'll run into somebody every once in a while. Maybe you're like going through this abandoned mine and you find another guy and he's like, "Oh, hey dude, there's some guys up there. Why don't we take them out together real quick?" And then you guys take them out together, you maybe trade some stuff, and then like you go your separate ways. And it's
I have played a little bit of co-op with Thel.
Yeah.
And while I don't have the same experiences with just Fallout in general as you, because I do always have a companion, and it's like, I don't know, but being with Thel, I didn't really feel like I was any less isolated. It just felt like Thel and I were together in the middle of nowhere instead of just, so it's like, oh, we both found this Vault Tech University and we kind of split up in there, but like, I don't know, I didn't really feel like I was any less alone, other than, I mean, I felt like I was with someone, but I didn't feel like, so I guess I could relax a little bit. I didn't feel like I needed to watch my back all the time, but so I can kind of see it, but I don't know. I would much rather have a multiplayer thing than not. And if right. I really wanted to play Fallout 76 alone, I feel like I could. Yeah. And get that Fallout experience in the same way.
Right.
There are a few issues, and we've run into a lot of bugs.
Somehow you guys have run into more bugs than I have, which is very strange because I am the bug vacuum of the group.
Yeah, typically you run into maybe Fallout just knows that you love it that much. The only real bug I ran into, not counting the friends list stuff, was I had a ghoul angrily T-pose at me once. He was just like T-posing and like I was getting hit by him, and I couldn't always like hit him directly. He was like, he would be like tanking at me. It was really weird looking. But
what I have had,
and then other than that, like Thel and I just could not get into a group together. Like I tried inviting him, he tried inviting me. Like when I sent him a friend, like a invite, he just never got anything. When he sent me a group invite, I had it, I just couldn't click accept. It just didn't do anything. So
so fucking strange.
So I don't know if it was like him, or if it was me, or if it was the servers, or what. But we just could not be in a group together. And Thel, you had even more bugs.
Yeah. The first bug that I ran into that really sort of kind of screwed me up was when I started the character select on the like character creation. The character creation works the same way as Fallout 4, but every time I like selected part of the face and tried to move it with any of the buttons, nothing would happen, except the nose would get smaller and bigger slightly, and there was nothing I could do about that. So I created a horrible looking drunk lady who I named Butts. And then I decided to wander the wasteland as her, which immediately upon exiting the vault, it said could not retrieve character information, and then immediately let me continue playing. I don't know what that was about, but whatever. I ran into bugs where I fired at ghouls, emptying an entire magazine and directly into the ghoul's chest, and having not connected any of the shots at all. And then just having to take out my machete. This also happened with dogs at some point, where I would fire my gun at a dog directly at them.
Oh, so you fired your gun 1,000,000 times at ghouls, and they just Spider-Man out of the way. So it's like the Fallout 3 experience.
Oh no, they didn't even Spider-Man out of the way. They just stood there, and the bullets just missed.
I see.
It's like when you play in World of Darkness, and you don't roll anything past an 8, and you're like have the gun to some dude's head, and you pull the trigger and it just fucking misses.
Okay.
Yeah.
The bullet just goes like this. It just sort of like just.
I feel like
direction.
Maybe when the game told you that it couldn't retrieve character information, maybe it was a good sign to restart the client.
probably. There was a time where a ghoul was fighting like a Mr. Handy, and I started shooting at the ghoul, and then the ghoul walked back to its spawn point, and then started attacking me, like walked past me to its spawn point. So yeah.
So here's my question: were you ever able to get the character creator working? Because there is a way to edit your character post creation.
I was able to find that menu, but I wasn't able to change anything about it after I did that. Because I did try. It was before, like right before Saine got on.
I feel like this may stem from you having installed it on your external hard drive.
Possibly.
I don't know if that would be it, though. That seems like such a weird thing, because I don't feel like that should make a difference.
Well, the external hard drive introduces latency compared to a regular SATA cable. You don't have you have it plugged in with a USB, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot more latency with USB than there is with SATA.
It shouldn't be that significant, though, because I've played. I had League of Legends on my external drive. Like I've had tons of online games on my external drive.
I played other Bethesda games with it installed.
This one I happened to not install it on my external. It was like C drive, and I was like, yeah, okay. So I don't know.
Maybe there's something particular about this game with external hard drives.
I think the bigger thing is could not retrieve player data. Yeah. I think that maybe Thel just fell into a hole that he should have restarted but didn't.
Yeah.
Which, it's fair enough on Thel's part because like it didn't force close it on him or anything. But at the same time, like I don't know. We could try again, and if we're still having problems, then maybe we mess with it some more. But get out of there.
Yeah. There are a couple of more betas before the launch. There's 2 more, so.
Yeah, and the other thing, like, they do not let you. Look, so there's this thing that is definitely like, I don't know if it's exactly a me problem, but when you're playing in third-person view, they have this depth of field, right? Okay. And the way that depth of field is calculated in this game is wherever
I will be right back.
Your cursor or your pointer is at is what is in focus. Now, in third-person mode, if you have your, like, often the reason I have third-person mode is so that I can kind of aim at the ground, so I'm looking sort of up at my character a little bit.
Right.
And then see in front of me above my character's head, rather than, like, being over the shoulder all close. So I usually do the fullest zoomed out and then slightly tilted down. Unfortunately, this makes everything blurry. And combined with like the motion blur and sort of restricted FOV even in third person view, like I was getting really motion sick the first time I tried playing it.
Did you try playing it in first person? Did that help or worse or?
At the point in time, I was already done. Like I was already motion sick. Nothing I changed was gonna fix it at that point because I had been playing long enough that it was a problem. So I ended up closing the game and like taking a nap. And then when I came back, I pushed my whole monitor farther away. And then in third person mode, as long as I pointed at what I was looking at, I was in better shape. The problem with first person view too is it does have a pretty restricted FOV.
It does. Yeah.
And it has head bob that you can't turn off.
Now, they've said that they plan to fix all of those things for launch, and there is a significant patch that's coming before these next 2 betas.
Yeah.
So maybe they've done something about it.
I really hope
so. It is
a
very large patch, so options wouldn't be out of the question to be in it.
I really hope so. One of the things that concerns me, though, is at one point, the first beta, they had a different set of any options than they did in the second beta, the one I played in. Or the third beta, or what I played on the Sunday beta. So I read a thing about people changing the ini files to turn off the depth of field, but then they changed it so that option wasn't available anymore. Right. So, man, I really hope that option is in there because the depth of field looks really nice, but if it makes me sick, I can't play it.
Right.
Even if the depth of field was calculated in that the sides were blurred, but the top like directly up and down was didn't have that depth of field problem, then I'd be in better shape.
Yeah.
But because I have the cursor pointed down a little bit and look over my character's head, it everything's always blurry, and it gave me problems.
If you're looking at the ground, it's all blurry. Yeah.
Well, the ground looked fine because that's where the mouse cursor was.
Yeah, if you're looking at the ground, everything that isn't the ground is blurry. I mean,
yeah. So I don't know. Like, I really hope they fix that because that was giving me issues. And motion blur always just looks awful, so they should just let you turn that off anyway. Depth of field at least looks nice, but even in third person though, like I want the horizon line to be at my character's head, not at the middle of my torso. So like having to look, have my pointer look like pointed up at what I'm looking at is really awkward when it like sinks you into the ground almost because you're like looking up at the back of your character. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really hope they fix that though because that was giving me issues. Or at least give you some options to change how the depth of field works because I just don't know. But that was my biggest complaint with it, was just sort of quality of life things that I assume will be fixed.
Yeah.
And even still, I could probably deal with it.
See, like, people say, it's a beta, and then people argue with that. Like, well, it's a beta that's only 2 weeks away from launch. There's no way they can fix these problems. And it's like, that's not true.
I think
they're about to launch a huge game. They're putting in overtime.
I think potentially some issues are big enough to not be changed. But but like option menus and quality of life stuff, like I assume that stuff will be in place. Like that, that is a last pass kind of thing. So so yeah, I don't know.
Push to talk's another big thing that they said they are definitely adding to launch. They just didn't think about it because they designed it because the first beta was Xbox One, so they didn't think about it because nobody needed push to talk on Xbox One for some reason. I guess. I don't know.
Well, I like the idea of proximity audio, but the only thing is if I have anything going on in the background where I'm talking to friends on Discord and not on the game, then it presents a problem.
Exactly. But, it presented a huge problem for me because, see, here's how it went down.
Or streamers,
initially.
I was think on that they would think about streamers, but
I was on my stream. I was talking to my chat. I actually had a decently active chat during character creation. I was talking to them, and I was like, "Okay, so see, my one problem is I just need this guy to look less old. So where's the wrinkles option?" And then I just hear, mind you, this is while I am in the character creation menu before I have had an options menu. I hear, "Bruh, I don't give a fuck," and I'm like, "I'm sorry. Is my microphone fucking open during character creation? Is that what's going on? I haven't had an options menu yet." Of course, I didn't say that because I got terrified that somebody was listening to me.
Someone's going to axe murder you while you're getting character created. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Push to talk is a weird thing. Yeah. Because I get the idea that like having an open mic that's area and proximity based is kind of cool in games like this. Mm-hmm. But I think on PC in particular, like certain people just don't want to deal with it at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the problem is there might be somebody who wants to hear what other people are saying in their proximity chat, but might not want to talk back to them, right? Maybe they're just shy, but they still want to hear it. Your only option is to just turn off all voice chat, period.
Or if you're in an environment with like crying babies and shit in the background, like the last thing you want to do is annoy everyone around you.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Alternatively, you could just put the crying baby up to the microphone, as I would do.
And then they would think that you're. And then they would think you're 12.
They would think I was 12, of course. But if you see a fucking drunk ass woman running around whose name is Butts, hitting things with a machete that only makes the sounds of a crying baby, I think you got a recipe for something. Oh, that's
another thing. Actually, your woman is not named Butts. It's named whatever your Bethesda Net account is.
Oh, really?
It's very frustrating.
I saw you as Thel.McLargehuge the whole time.
Yeah, I know. People, like, I really hope they change that, because otherwise, what's the point of even giving your character a name?
Also, I want to talk about Bethesda Net. It works, TM. Like it's pretty much just battle.net. Except all of like the links up in the top of battle.net that like go to other parts in the battle.net client. It was just dead ass fucking link to their website. Like straight up, they just go to their website. Like the hell thing, you click and it opens up your the website in the browser.
I don't want another game launcher, but for Fallout, I'll do it. That's how I feel about it.
I feel like I'm existing through it for the beta, but I don't want it so much that I won't even do Fallout for it. Like I have no like plans to purchase this game.
You don't plan to purchase anything, really.
I mean, yeah, but
you don't want to play Fallout 76 because the launcher is
no. It's just one of the things that's like a lot of this game
isn't like... good, and you're not compelled enough by the game to deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to pick it up because I definitely play it.
Yeah.
Assuming they turn off.
Saine, do you think that would be one of those games that you would play by yourself as well?
Potentially, but like a majority of the games that I play with others. So
right. Yeah. Well,
I would play it on my own.
Any problem getting me to play it with you?
Yeah, I would totally play it with you, and I could potentially play it on my own. And I know that potentially my brother would very much like to play it too, because he has twice the number of hours I do in Fallout 4.
Yeah. But the problem is it's not a Steam, so you couldn't really family share that's the sucky thing. Play it on your computer, basically.
Or give him the keys to my Bethesda account, which is scary. Because he got me banned from Battle.net. That's why I have a second Battle.net.
I see.
Basically, I gave him my old Battle.net and made myself a new one.
Understandable.
That's why I don't own StarCraft.
Oh. Well, you do now. It's free, but...
yeah, well. I wouldn't play it anyway.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I don't know. I am really interested in Fallout 76, and I do want to play more of it. And I'm a little sad that you aren't interested in playing it with us, though. But like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not interested in it, you're not interested in it. I'm really interested in it because it's Fallout, and because from what I've played, it hits. This is the thing that I really wanted to get out the whole time. It hits all of the right notes of Fallout for me. It has a decently compelling story, even though you are not personally involved in it, really. It has a lot of the compelling, like, side notes. Like,
I almost feel like you're more involved and you have more reason to care than you did in Fallout 4. Because Fallout 4 was like, my baby's gone, and then you're like, oh, but all this other stuff. At least in this game, it's like, maybe I want to go follow my overseer, or maybe I don't.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. Like, in Fallout 4, it made absolutely no sense for you to do literally anything. You walk up to Preston, okay, I just saw my husband get murdered and my baby stolen from his arms. I would walk up to Preston Garvey and he'd be like, help, the bandits are shooting at us. And I'd be like, fuck you. And I'd keep walking because I need to go find my infant child.
I don't know, if you walked up on a gunfight and people were shooting at each other and stuff, and then like maybe I would help out in that scenario, in that one scenario, and then like they give you power armor and like, cool, now I have power armor. Past that, it's like, what do you mean build a city? I'm looking for my kid. Like, what? Why am I gonna spend here setting up a settlement? Like, I have shit to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the point where it diverged for me. Like, up to that point, it was like, you were kind of just, you came out, you're wandering, and then he's the first person you actually see.
Mama Murphy can help you find your son. Or whatever. So, yeah. But, like, all of the other stuff, like...
It just seems like the story connection just was very strange in that game.
That's the main problem with Fallout 4, is that you are not playing you. No matter how you make them look, no matter how you name them, you are playing Nate or Nora. You are playing the character that you were given. Whereas in Fallout New Vegas, you are still playing a character you're given, but only a little bit of details. You know that you were a courier, which before you were a courier, you could be anything. After you're a courier, you could be anything. You were shot in the head and you survived. Great. Now, you should go for revenge. That's what this game is telling you to do. But if you don't go to get revenge on Benny, you just live and let live and do whatever the fuck else, fine. You don't have to be driven by revenge.
You know what's so weird about how they handle Fallout's story? If you compare it to Elder Scrolls, it just makes you ask how they could have possibly made this mistake, because they've never had an Elder Scrolls where you weren't just some dude in a jail.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They literally could have started Fallout 4 with you're some dude in a jail.
Like,
Yeah.
even the one game where it's like who you are actually matters, which is Oblivion. It's like, you're like a prosophy dude. And then it's like, that's it. Go find my son, or maybe don't.
Yeah. You're foretold in the prophecy, but
so you'll do it eventually, I know it.
Yeah,
and then it's like,
exactly.
But it's like not the super pressing thing. It's like not like your baby infant is gonna die. It's like this dude is living in a stable somewhere on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's just I don't know how they made that mistake after getting every single Elder Scrolls fine.
You could have literally just woken up in the cryo sleep casket and then designed your character and special stats after that.
Yeah.
You could have had everything but the baby.
And then they could have said explore.
Everything but the baby could have been exactly the same.
Without the baby, it's like, oh no, my spouse has been shot, but there's nothing I can do about it because they're dead. Now I have to live.
Yeah. And maybe it was just fucking random raiders that shot your spouse, and you have to go track them down, and it turns out they've been hired by the Institute to do other stuff.
Exactly
and
what fucking happened.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Then maybe they got hired by the Institute to do some completely other things, but just happened to run across your vault and decided to like steal as much as they could, got in over their heads and killed your husband, and didn't actually necessarily want to or need to. And that throws you into the world of the Institute versus the Brotherhood of Steel versus the Railroad, etc., etc., etc.
Or they could have just not, if they just didn't have the baby and your husband was missing, but you had no clues, then somehow like your husband been missing and like you're looking for your husband would be, the stakes of that seems a lot less immediate than my child is missing, because at least your husband would be a fully grown person still. So if they just removed the baby, if it wasn't about the baby, that one change would fix that game. Like, everything else, like, if it was an adult, then it was just like, oh, I'm trying to track this person down. It's like, then it's like, I'm doing this other shit, but it's not like he's gonna die
in Fallout 3. Exactly. Like, in Fallout 3, you were looking for your dad.
Yeah.
Your dad's a grown-ass man. He can take care of himself. So if you don't go and find your dad immediately, like, you'll find him eventually, dead or alive. But you don't. It's not like you have to go and save him.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the husband is it would also still be like your husband was kidnapped, but that would actually make the thing that happens later when you find out your husband's running the Institute a lot more fucking interesting, because it's like, oh, I've grown so much since we were together. So much has changed. We may have completely different ideological ideas now. So you might want to actually fucking hate me now after you've seen what the Wasteland has become. There's so much that can happen. It would have been better if they would have done that.
Yeah, so I just don't understand, man.
Moving away from Fallout 4, my whole point of that was that they gave you... My point with Fallout 4 was that in Fallout 4, they gave you a character. That was the character that you had to be, and it ruined it story-wise. It had really good game mechanics. New Vegas had really good story, and Fallout 3 had really good exploration. And in Fallout 76, they've completely, essentially...
If by exploration you mean go through the tunnels for half the fucking game.
Yeah, but...
You know what? I don't even want to talk about Fallout 3, because I actually don't like that one. Of all of them, that is the worst one.
I think Fallout 3 is the worst. Yeah, I like Fallout 4 better than Fallout 3, but that's not the point. My point is that Fallout 76 culminates, like, it has all the good game mechanics of Fallout 4. It has all of the, like, and it doesn't, just to compare it to Fallout 4, let's forget the other Fallout games.
Yeah.
It doesn't muddle you up in this story that you have to get caught up on. It doesn't muddle you up in this, like, you have to build in order to be able to progress, because that's game mechanic wise, you pretty much have to do all the building shit to progress properly. Whereas, but there's a disconnect from the story. Whereas in this, you should probably do some building or crafting to progress decently, but you're just a guy who you got sent out of the vault, and your goal is to go out of the vault.
Do you know what was really weird?
That's where your goals stop.
Do you know what was really weird about my experience playing Fallout 76 initially?
What's that?
I was like, I wake up in the vault and everyone's gone, and there's no other, like, at this point no other players are in the vault still. So I'm like, man, I must have really fucking overslept. So I'm like wandering around in an empty vault. I'm like, where the hell is everybody? I can't be the literally last person to leave because I slept too long. Yeah.
And see, that's what
that
I
was
think
kind of weird, but
that's what I think is the beauty of Fallout 76. I honestly feel like roleplay is going to become a big thing in that game. Depending on how long it
I got
lasts,
a greaser
right?
outfit.
Yeah, like I'm wearing a paramedic outfit, and if any like
I feel like everyone gets that, but
yeah, you get that outfit pretty early on. But I'm continuing to wear the paramedic outfit because my hope is that people will see the paramedic outfit, and I have like a bunch of medical things, so I can just save people. You know, I don't know. Like it's just I think that roleplay is going to become a big thing because like majority of people that I've encountered have not started shooting at me, except for one person who I essentially encountered inside of a PvP zone. It's not a real PvP. It's one of those workshops. You have to defend it from other players too. So of course he started shooting at me because he wanted the stuff that I had. But
the thing I'm afraid of with that is that the only game I've ever seen that actually work in is Space Station 13, and to even have heard about that game, you need to be the kind of person who would be willing to do that.
I think that I almost feel like they incentivize you not to PvP so strongly that I don't expect anyone to really PvP.
Oh yeah, no. What I meant was the roleplay thing. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
But
I think there will be a collection of people who do roleplay. I just don't think it'll be like. I don't think it'll be more than maybe half of anyone you run into.
A big thing, right? But I feel like maybe the I don't think it'll be like everybody's doing it because that's how they want you to play. Like in Space Station 13, they want you to play as a roleplay character.
I feel like the more that you play it, the more likely people will be like that. Because I feel like if you stick with that kind of game for a long period of time, eventually we'll get to the point where most of the people who have been playing for a while are going to be role-playing something, probably. Unless you're playing with people and all you do is like kill people or kill things. Like if you're playing with a group of people and all you're doing is killing and scavenging forever, then maybe I could see them never role-playing. But I think that it'll eventually go that way. I just don't like. I think most likely you just won't interact with people. You'll see someone walking by and you just will let them continue.
So here's my thoughts. Right. Say there is a person wandering around. Let's say it's me. Let's say I really want to stay in character for this whole game session and I want to play in character. Right. I can act in character, like. Because, one of my interactions with the guy, right? I wasn't trying to play a character or anything, but I could act in character and nothing he said really would have taken me out of it, right? I'd be like, hello, traveler. How are you doing today? I'm with the protectors and I'm going to protect you. And he'll be like, all right, dude, shit, fine. That doesn't sound like, that's not like, hey, I got a level, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, that might happen. It's just, I feel like there can be the intermingling of people who would want to roleplay and people who aren't really role-playing. Like, it would still work when they intermingle, you know?
I think the only point in which that wouldn't work is when everyone's forced to have open mic and someone's talking about Twitch streaming or doing their taxes or whatever in the background.
Exactly. And that's why I didn't choose to do roleplay on my stream, because I had to have the open mic and I had to interact with my chat. So
And one thing that
Well,
I
if
do
you had
gotta
push
say-
to talk, though, you could interact with your chat and then role play.
Exactly,
time.
and that's so. If there were push to talk, I totally would have stayed in character the whole time. And when they add push to talk, I intend to stay in character while I am playing alone, at least.
So if we don't move to news right now, we're not going to be able to talk about anything at length.
Yeah.
Right.
So we should move to news right now.
Definitely.
Because it is almost 6 currently. We spent
Yeah.
We've been
long
going
time on
almost
Fallout 76.
an hour and 45 minutes on games we've been or
Yeah.
stuff we've done this week. So
Yeah, we did a lot this week, and there's still a lot of news.
it's probably been an hour of Fallout, which I'm not that surprised about. But
Fair enough.
do you guys really need a break, or do you want to just power through it?
I can power through it. I jumped
yeah,
out
let's
earlier.
power through it. That's fine.
Okay, so we're gonna. Why don't we do movie news first, because there's less of it.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
there's a lot less movie news. There's like a little bit.
Let me
I
just
can
stand
blow
up
through
a
this
little.
pretty
Keep
quick
going.
because there's not anything like super big. Oh wait, did I do that one last week? The where he talked about yeah, I did that one last week. Let's see. Okay, so the first one is that Guillermo del Toro, after he finished directing The Shape of Water, he took a year off of directing. He said that he was going to do that after he, during the filming of Shape of Water, and he has since done a lot of stuff with that. He built a theater in his hometown. What was it? It was like a list of all the things that he had done, and this mostly just talks about. Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay. Oh man. He started two scholarships for young Mexican filmmakers. He built a theater in his town and activated an animation center, which he's been doing a lot of charity stuff while taking the year off, and he just now got to work on his new Pinocchio film. So yeah.
Did you know he's really good friends with Adam Savage from Mythbusters?
Really?
I did not, but that doesn't surprise me at all because Adam Savage used to be a special effects guy, and they probably worked together.
That probably, yeah, that makes sense.
They never
actually.
worked together on a thing, but they have done stuff like given each other gifts of like Hellboy shit. So I don't know.
Okay. So anyway, Andrew Lincoln to star in multiple Walking Dead Rick Grimes movies.
Okay.
Because yeah,
let me
Saine can go ahead on this one.
I'm just gonna. So okay, this is gonna be spoilers, but there's no way to avoid it, and no one's ever gonna be like. There's no way to not get spoiled on this. The fact that this news exists at all is gonna spoil this.
Okay.
So all fucking month, The Walking Dead and AMC has been doing these like the final episodes of Rick Grimes, and they were implying super heavily that he is gonna die this season.
Okay.
Tonight or last night was the episode where they finally tell you what happens. So he doesn't actually die. Everybody thinks he dies, and he's basically medevaced in a helicopter by this other character who's kind of a weird character. And so now he's going to star in a bunch of AMC direct-to-TV movies starring Rick Grimes, completely separated from the rest of Walking Dead. And now Walking Dead is doing like a 9-year time skip into the future.
Oh.
Which is the second time skip of this season. The first one was only a year and a half, but this one's like 9 years. So at the end of the episode, they introduced Judith Grimes, his daughter, being a character in the new show.
I see.
Interesting. But man, I feel like they played us good. Like they really made it seem like he was like dead and gonna die.
Well, have they done that for other character deaths?
No.
Like these episodes are leading up to this guy dying.
The closest is they had at the end of one season, they had Negan, the guy with the baseball bat, going eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and they don't show you who he decides to kill, and then he kills someone.
Okay.
And then they actually, part of the twist of that was he kills 2 people that episode.
Oh.
But yeah, like that is the closest they've ever done something like this. But even that, they like you knew someone was gonna die, but there was like 12 choices. They were all essentially main characters, but like you had a couple of good reasons to believe it were a handful of people or a couple of different people. But they've never been like, this character's dying this season. Like, this is the first time it's ever happened that way. So it was kind of really funny that it was kind of like a bait and switch. It was really kind of fucking good.
Huh. Nice.
Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one is just a little bit of this one's like hardly really even that much news. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. Vulture states Roseman Pikes gives career best performance in A Private War. This is the woman who was Gone Girl. The titular Gone Girl gives a career best performance.
She was the girl who was gone.
To be fair, the problem with Gone Girl was not the actress. It was the script, but
really?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty weird.
Okay. Anyway, Roseman Pike, gives a career best performance in A Private War, which is exciting. So yeah, and that's about it for movie stories. There's fucking nothing else.
Yeah. Okay.
Game stories.
Did you like Gone Girl? Did you like Gone Girl, Thel?
Gone Girl's fucking incredible.
Really?
We watched Gone Girl together. Saine.
I never watched Gone Girl with you.
Really?
Oh no, Saine wasn't.
I saw Gone Girl in theaters.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway. Let's move on. Okay. So yeah, Deltarune came out. I'm gonna move that to the end.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Deltarune came out. We already talked about
so
it.
I'm just gonna put Blizzard news, and then later I'm going to change it to Diablo news. Okay.
Oh yeah, alright, fair enough.
That way I can run through most of this because it was BlizzCon.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, they announced that Kellogg's is releasing a cereal called Lucio's. Does anybody? Okay.
Fine, Blizzard. Just whatever the fuck that is.
There was a new animated short featuring McCree, and it shows off the new character named Ash.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was
I
also
thought it was really good. Thel refuses to watch them, so.
They made McCree 100 years old by not implying but outright stating he was the founder of the thing that was founded
that is
explicitly
false.
What? No, they did.
You watched
not in the shorts.
What?
No,
not in the shorts.
He joined Blackwatch later.
No, not Blackwatch. The Deadlock game.
Yeah, there's a thing in the short that says Deadlock game estimated 1976, and then they said helped found it. And Overwatch takes place in like 2035 or something.
2070 something.
2070 something.
Making him around 100 years old if he was the one who founded it. With Ash, specifically. That was one of the big lore things that came out with Ash. It was like, Ash was one of the founders of the Deadlock gang with McCree.
I'm pretty sure
I don't know how any of... I mean, having contradictions is one thing, and sure, that's like bad writing and whatever, but like... the shorts are just as canon as anything else. So I don't know, whatever. I haven't watched it either, but just because I'm not interested.
I don't know if the tattoo was in the short. I think the tattoo was something previously, like it was on one of the skins. On one of McCree's skins.
I don't know, but I don't think that I feel as though that I don't even think it was a tattoo. I think it's a decal on metal. I feel like that's just like, I don't know. Maybe they founded the Deadlock gang and it was named after deadlocked whiskey.
I feel like the timeline is already really weird, though. I feel like the timeline is already really weird because McCree has to be about as old as 76, just on like time frame, unless 76 just ages really fast like old Snake. I don't know.
I think McCree was a little younger than, like, he was the young hot shot, so he's got to be like, I feel like McCree is around his like 40s, mid 40s or something, like age wise, like what he's supposed to be.
Well, because Commander Morrison was like with blonde hair and stuff. He was not that much. Like, he couldn't have been that much older than McCree at the time that McCree was involved with
I mean,
Blackwatch.
McCree could have been like 20 and Soldier could have been like 30 or something.
Yeah, but the 10 years is not that much different in terms of like how they look from each other.
That's true. Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, Blizzard, Overwatch lore is just silly anyway.
Overwatch lore is ridiculous and all over the place.
I don't know how they don't have like a timeline for shit. This is like this is what you do if you're writing anything.
You're getting hung up on that thing, and I want to dispute it. I think that deadlock thing, like that's not the logo.
No,
for
it
the
says like Deadlock Gang. No, it does.
not.
Deadass says Deadlock Gang. It the tattoo Deadass said Deadlock Gang. Straight up.
Whatever. Activision is giving away Destiny 2 through the Battle.net through November, what was it, 14th? No, 18th. So anytime between now and November 18th, you can pick up Destiny 2, which I encourage everyone to do because at least the story campaign was fun for a little while, and you know, really, Activision decided to charge exactly what it's worth.
Yeah, fair enough.
Moving on. Like I said, Ash is coming out. There's a new Heroes of the Storm character named Orphea, who is the first character to not be from another property.
Yes, she is. Her lore is essentially that she's the Raven Lord's daughter, and she's mad at her dad for being a bad guy.
Yeah.
She was
so
his
she's
daughter.
kind of Warcraft, but not.
Yeah. The Raven Lord is specific to the Nexus, so
yeah.
The
that
Raven
map?
Lord is not a Warcraft character. Yes, he's like
she's the daughter of the character in the map. Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, it is. She's the daughter of the Raven Lord, and the Raven Lord's goal is to like eat worlds or something. And Deckard Cain was like, "Hey, your dad's a bad guy," and she's like, "My dad's a bad guy. I have to kill him." So she decided to fight everybody.
Okay,
that's her lore.
So what happens when she plays on the Ravenlord map?
I don't know. There's probably special voice interactions. They like to do that in MOBAs, but yeah. She has a bunch of abilities that look Ravenlordy. She's got like, I don't know, like bite attacks. It's interesting. She looks kind of fun to play. Yeah.
Warcraft 3 Reforged, so they're remaking Warcraft 3, which I believe
probably all a StarCraft HD, which is really nice.
Yeah. Was this already announced, or was this just speculated heavily?
StarCraft, I think StarCraft HD was just like, I don't think it like completely retextured everything. Whereas Warcraft 3, it did. Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah, it remodeled, retextured everything.
Okay.
It was basically built from the ground up.
I have StarCraft HD. It's the same.
Right. So now the big thing that we're gonna talk about before some of this other stuff. Oh, do you want to talk about? Okay, the Heroes of the Storm is splitting the classes into 7.
Yeah,
from 3.
So whereas before they had 4, they had assassin, tank, support, and specialist. And specialist was basically anything that didn't fit somewhere else. I
think it was bruiser, not tank, but.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, they've split it now into tank, bruiser, healer, support, melee assassin, and ranged assassin. So, one, they distinctify healer from support, which will probably help the matchmaking, honestly.
Yeah. Ranged assassin is kind of funny because it's like half of the characters or something.
Yeah,
it's like a third of the characters.
I feel like the melee assassin and bruisers are like the biggest point of contention. Like, I don't understand how they categorize them. Some of them are obvious, but other ones are like just really weird choices. Like I know that Ragnaros was really squishy unless he was a building, and they put him in bruiser. So I'm wondering if this is also going to come with balance updates to some of the like squishier characters that are now classified as bruisers and stuff like that.
My problem with this though is it makes me wonder how bad specialists are going to be from here on out, because the characters who are very, very much specialists, like Nazebo, what's her face, the chick, Sylvanas,
Sylvanas,
and
that's her.
And then there's one more, the
Zagara.
Yeah, well, right? Zagara is one too, but I was actually thinking the laser dude.
Asmodan.
Those 4 people, if they do push harder than anyone else, right? Hands down. So how are they going to take that away from them, or are they going to balance for that still? Like I don't know. I'm not doom and glooming, but I think that could be a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
but I feel like as the game has been more balanced, as the game has gotten more balance patches, they've moved. Asmodan definitely kills people pretty fast. Sylvanas is definitely good at killing people. They just also push harder, so it's.
I don't think Asmodan kills people fast. He kills them slow and steady.
Yeah, that's true.
He usually wins engagements. That doesn't mean he kills people fast. But anyway,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah,
before it was like it sucked when one team had a specialist and the other didn't. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What they're gonna do, but we'll see. So the big announcement of BlizzCon, to much people's chagrin, was Diablo Mobile. So there's
Diablo Immortal.
Yeah, Immortal, but it's Diablo on mobile.
It's Diablo on mobile.
So there's been a lot of conflicting information. So I have a bunch of stories that kind of clear some of it up.
Okay.
I watched the Twitch the Twitch announcement about it.
Yeah, this page is not loading. Okay, so yeah, Diablo Immortal is co-developed by Blizzard and NetEase. This has been controversial because NetEase has these other like MMO style games in China, and they've been criticized for some of their practices, and people have said that this looks like a reskin of one of their other games. Blizzard came out and denied that, saying that NetEase did not, or that the game is built from ground up, so it's not reskinned anything and it doesn't reuse stuff. But it would surprise me if Blizzard ever released anything that was a reskin, you know? Yeah. So, but I don't know. I was hearing a lot of people concerned about that, so I thought that I would bring it up. So I don't know. That was an official statement. What else is here? Yeah, I don't know. It was just it was very painful to watch though, because they announced it and then the guy on the stage who was talking about it sat there and defended it to questioning from people, and one of the questions was literally, is this an ill-timed April Fool's joke?
And let me tell you, watching the stream, that question got more cheers and reaction from the crowd than anything they did when they announced the game. Everyone, when they actually announced the game, were silent. There were multiple times when the man coming up and trying to talk to it was like, okay, well, one of the things that we are doing is we are bringing you back to Tyrael in the 20 years before Diablo 3, and in between that and Diablo 2, we are finally going to figure out where the demon hunters were found. And he just stops and it's like,
okay.
And also we're going to... The man was on the verge of tears. It was painful for everyone. Blizzard did that poor bastard bad.
I think one of the parts was something like, I think it might have been in response to that April Fool's joke question. One of the people on the stage literally said, "Do you guys not have phones?"
That was in response to another question, and that was the other time the crowd went wild. When someone went up to it, it's like, we see there's a lot of features that you guys have in this game that we've asked for in Diablo 3 for a while.
Oh, right.
Do you guys have any plans of porting it to PC? And they were like, well, we do want to bring it to Android and iOS. But no, we don't have any plans for porting it to the PC. And then everyone began booing.
Yeah.
And that's when they said, do you guys have phones?
Do you guys not have phones? And it was a very poor joke.
That announcement sounds like a horrible, horrible mess.
I feel like it would have been better if what they did was a smaller announcement that happened before the Warcraft
Blizzcon.
3 remake, because if
let's
it was
harken-
just rearranged and this wasn't like the big keynote thing, we have Diablo Mobile, I think it would have been taken a lot differently.
Let's think back to E3, right? Remember what Bethesda did? They were like, here, or the last couple of E3s, as a matter of fact, they were like, here is our big announcement, Fallout 4, and everybody goes wild, and yeah, ooh, everybody's loving the shit, and everything's going great, and then they're saying, also, we have another little surprise for you. We're making a cool little mobile game called Fallout Shelter, and here's all the cool stuff on that.
And it's
like,
available
that's okay.
now!
And it's available now. And they say, yeah! And they did the same thing with Elder Scrolls Blades. They went over Fallout 76. And then they were like, well, we got another thing, this Elder Scrolls Blades, and we got all this cool stuff. And people were like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
They're like, yeah.
And they were like, oh,
and then it was like,
new...
and
then
here,
they
have a
like,
logo!
Elder Scrolls 7!
It's like a logo! Yeah,
Yes.
I read an article too that was saying, and actually I have it here, that they were reportedly planning on revealing Diablo 4, but part of the issue with Diablo 4 is they're not done with the planning phase of Diablo 4 yet. So Diablo 4 exists, but there's been a lot of controversy in the office about what it should be, what it is, so they don't want to really release any information about it because they don't know what it is yet.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like they're working on it, but they have
Yeah,
no
it's
fucking
just
idea
like-
what the goddamn
I don't know. Like, I'm not against the concept of a supplementary Diablo game on mobile. Like,
Yeah, I'm
I
not
think
either.
that it's good to put, like, 95% of mobile games are shit. And if they can make a game that is better than shit, it'll be fun to play on mobile. Like, you always have
Yeah.
your phone on, you can just play it every once in a while. But the fact that this was the big Diablo news, like, they've been
Yeah.
hyping up, we have multiple Diablo projects in the works, and then they go to their own convention and announce this in this fashion.
Yeah.
Like, that's
You know
the
what would have been great if
What?
they had like also in tandem been working on like, not even like a Diablo like full remaster like they were doing with fucking what is it? Like they did with Warcraft 3. If they just like did like a Diablo and Diablo 2 thing where it's like, we're giving everyone Diablo and Diablo 2 for free, and you can run them in 1080p with some fucking
like the way
slightly
that they
bigger graphics.
the way that they did, like, StarCraft HD.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
more fucking pixels on it.
That was the
and
other
also,
thing.
there's this fucking mobile game.
That was the other thing. People really wanted a Diablo 2 remake.
Yeah.
And so that was another thing that, like, people were excited for the possibility of that, and that wasn't the big announcement either. It was
Yeah, that announcement
Fallout,
was just
or
like
it
a
was
slap in the
mobile.
face.
Yeah, no.
So
here's the
it was
thing.
like the least popular thing they thought was the big announcement. So they were just super tone deaf or something. Like, I don't know how they didn't see this coming.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know, I was over here. I'm over here on the podcast. Like, I wish the fucking the mobile platform had more I wish mobile platform had more like sort of games. And I'm also over here like, I wish Blizzard would actually do something fun and interesting with Diablo. And then the monkey's paw curls. They did the same shit with fucking what was it? Command and Conquer. I wish I had a new Command and Conquer game. So you know what? I'm not wishing for video games anymore. I don't give a fuck what comes out. You all big game developers, I don't give a shit. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care about properties.
In fairness, I think Command and Conquer was already dead.
Oh,
It
it was
was,
fucking.
yeah.
It was.
Them slapping it on an arbitrary mobile game does not make. If anything, it improves the chances of a Command and Conquer game coming out. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I do agree. Command and Conquer was fucking gone. Like, it's been gone for years, man.
Yeah, and like, I'll try it, and I'll try Elder Scrolls Blades too, or Blades or whatever too.
I'm excited for Elder Scrolls Blades.
I am too, but like
Bethesda hasn't made a bad mobile game yet out of all one of them.
I just don't really like mobile games that much, to be
Yeah.
honest. And like, they kill my phone's battery, and I have a slightly older phone. I have a Galaxy S5, so it's possible that my phone won't even run it.
Right.
You know what my favorite part of the Twitch thing was? And this is
What's
something
that?
that not a lot of people are talking about, unfortunately. At the point in time where they show like the booth where you can play and give Diablo Immortal a try, they show a booth, right? And it's like, and here we have a booth of all of the people, all of our big Diablo fans. This is the best time to be part of the Diablo fandom, where you can go and play Diablo Immortal right now. And it was, of course, completely silent, except for very quietly in the background, you could hear a lady laughing her fucking ass off. just like in the background, like in the thing, you could just hear her. It was almost like villainous laugh. She sees all of these people in fucking cosplay. She's like, it was incredible.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
if anything, it's been incredibly entertaining. Which, I mean, I live for this shit. Drama gets me going.
Yeah.
And
I
hey,
like it too. I think it's hilarious. I watched a video about I watched a as a developer, actually. But like, it's still fun to roll in the Schadenfreude, you know?
Yeah.
I watched a video with Breivik's kind of reaction to this mobile game. Breivik being the guy who created Diablo 1 and 2. And he was like surprisingly more positive than most people. Which was kind of fun because he was very much like, okay, now a lot of people worked on this hard, and I heard that this other company, so maybe that's not good, but like, I don't think it's a bad idea to have a mobile Diablo. I just think Blizzard really fucked this one up. So like, he even acknowledged this was a PR issue. This was not an issue about Diablo Mobile. This was purely a PR issue.
Yeah. And it also gave me a good like excuse to talk about Matt Ullman, who like, I remember, well, here's the thing, you know, it was like what was that one guy? The one guy who showed up on Game Grumps fucking years ago, the guy who did the music for all of the fucking Banjo-Kazooie games, like he showed up on Game Grumps because they really, really fucking liked the guy. Like, that's who Matt Ullman is to me. I love Matt Ullman's music. I fucking think that he is incredible, and I finally got a good chance to talk about him. I only talked about him a little bit, and I'll probably maybe talk about him some more if it comes up. But I'm happy I got the chance.
Anyway.
Thank you, Blizzard, for at least giving me a good fucking reason to talk about something I liked.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna roll on through, finish some of this up real quick. Konami and P.T.
Okay.
So, P.T. standing for Public Test, which is that Silent Hills demo, right?
Yeah.
So there's two pieces of news. There were rumors going around that Konami pushed a patch that broke PT because like, they removed it from the store and you can't get it anymore, and the only people who have it are Sony consoles who downloaded it at the time. So that's the only way you can get PT anymore. Or buying someone else's console who had it at the time. So there was a lot of like rumors that that they pushed a patch that broke people's consoles or broke people's games. That's not true. Didn't happen. It was a Halloween prank, I guess. Not a true thing. A different thing though is there is a really convincing fan-made PT remake on PC. So Google that if you're interested, because Konami's probably likely to take it down eventually, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video if you're watching it on YouTube.
I'm downloading it as we speak because I never played PT and wanted to.
Fair enough.
You should download it, and we should do a thing on a stream on it.
We should absolutely do a thing on it. I completely agree.
Rainbow Six Siege, they're altering their maps to remove references to gambling, gore, sex, and violence that isn't people shooting at each other, I guess.
Why?
So they're and all mentions of skulls. All skulls are being removed too.
Oh, it's because they want to release it in China.
They're making a global version of the game, so they're making it standardized for all versions so that they can release it in Asian territories.
In China. Yeah.
And you know, like, other places have rules against gambling stuff, and like, to make it easier, I guess, to have a worldwide version, they're removing slot machines and like blood stains that are on walls and stuff like that.
I don't understand removing blood from this game. You are literally murdering people. warring people.
Yeah, I
killing
mean,
people.
you can kind of understand the skull thing.
The skull
they're
thing I get
changing
because Chinese don't
yeah.
like skeletons.
They're also changing some of the icons around because certain icons have skulls in them. Like the kill confirm icon has a skull on it, so they're changing it to a torso with an X on it.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I don't know. This is like this feels like it's turning the game pretty fucking milquetoast just for the sake of a global release.
I think it's not that
every
big
other
of a deal.
developer just does a different version for those countries.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny though? Well, it's harder to maintain that way, and people, it's easier, I guess, for them.
Guess. Yeah.
One of the funny things though is one of the characters literally has skull paint.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what
they're gonna do about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that character just won't be available in Asia, and maybe that's like an easier fix or something. I don't know. Than having alternate versions of maps. Whatever the case, that's a thing. I'll also link a news article that has from Destructoid that has a gallery that shows the different changes. So if you're interested in that, that's also in the comments. And then there's the Smash Ultimate Nintendo Direct. You want to talk about that real quick, Dalsson?
Yes. So there were a couple of big announcements during this Direct. This is the last Direct before the game actually releases. What they announced was 3 new characters. The first one being Ken, who is an Echo Fighter of Ryu, of course, because he was going to be in the game since they had the concept of Echo Fighters. Sakurai even said you could consider Ken the original Echo Fighter. And then during Ken's
Don't you
trailer,
mean Roy?
No. Ken being the original Echo Fighter before Smash.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. He was an Echo Fighter in Street Fighter.
Exactly the case. Actually, it might have actually been Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Ooh, maybe, huh?
Oh no, wait. Street Fighter came out first, didn't it?
Yeah.
Street
Fighter 2 was a little bit before.
Okay.
Yeah. But in any case, the other character that they announced that will be in the game to start is Incineroar. They also announced that they were working on 5 more characters, which will come as DLC packs with a character, a map, and tracks from whatever game, and like all the music tracks from whatever game that character is from. Announcing it like that, like some people are saying it feels kind of sleazy, like announcing DLC, but like they don't even know who the characters are that they're making. So
I don't think it's sleazy because they're still working on it.
Characters. Yeah,
I think that's different than like on disc DLC. Like that's not the same thing. They are still working on it, or obviously, or else they would come out.
Exactly.
Except for maybe Piranha Plant, who's like a pre-order.
They
bonus.
actually specifically said that they were still working on Piranha Plant and that he wasn't done yet.
Yeah, Piranha Plant is not going to come out with the game, but okay. So in the Direct, he said that Piranha Plant would be a pre-order bonus. That's not exactly the case. All that means is if you buy the digital edition, it automatically gets added. If you have a physical copy of the game and you did not pre-order it, all you have to do is register it with Club Nintendo or whatever their new program is, and then you'll get Piranha Plant when he comes out. So
I feel like a lot of people are just going to buy the digital version of Smash because it's one of those that you're just going to want to leave in there all the time.
It's true.
Kind of like Mario Kart, right?
Yeah, exactly. The other big thing that they announced was this like weird sticker system. You know, it's the same as Smash 4. You edit your stats and stuff, and there's a bunch of weird stuff with it. It's kind of a way the stickers replace trophies and they replace trophies and that sticker system.
That's
in that
weird.
they replace trophies because they're all based on other characters from IPs. So like he's like, since we couldn't represent everybody as a fighter, we basically made everybody into stickers. So that'll be a kind of fun way to have your representation.
What do you do with the stickers?
You equip them to your fighters and they'll change your stats. Like so like maybe one of the stickers will be start with a fire flower, right?
Okay.
So in order to obtain these stickers, you have to go through like special matches that are set up so that you fight a fighter who is kind of sort of like the character that you want the sticker of, right? So like the
they had something like that in Melee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that seems similar to that.
The Able sisters from Animal Crossing, for example, you're fighting 3 Sonic the Hedgehogs.
I have a question though. Are they not going to have the 3D models that you can like rotate and look at anymore?
Unfortunately, they said no, but but as a result, they can represent more characters that way.
Yeah,
because it's easier to make a sticker than it is to make a trophy. And what these stickers are useful for is the story mode, and the story mode looks absolutely phenomenal. If you have not watched this direct or don't intend to, I would recommend at least like skipping to
watching the story trailer or something.
Yeah,
do they have a story trailer separately? Maybe
I'm not sure, but it's the opening.
You might be able
to
find
game,
it on YouTube.
And essentially, what looks like so great about it compared to Subspace Emissary is that all of these IPs actually get representation. Like Subspace Emissary, like all of the characters were just kind of there going around, and then they're like, oh no, oh hey, I'm Ice Climbers, I'm here in Ice Place. And that was it.
Is that the name of the campaign from Brawl, or is that something?
Yeah, Subspace Emissary is the campaign from Brawl.
Okay.
And Subspace Emissary is cool, but it looks like they really stepped it up on this one. You're like moving around tiles on like almost a board game, and I presume
like
there's
a Super
going to
Mario
be
Brothers 3 sort of stage select.
Yeah, or like a stage select like that. So I presume that you're going to go through this story and unlock fighters for the story and do all like it just looks really good. And when they first were talking about the stickers thing, the spirits, I believe they're called. I'm going to call them spirits with the like stat stickers.
With an S.
I was like, what's the point of this if like, because they had it in Smash 4 and it was pointless. You couldn't use it online, and like there was really no reason to do it other than if you want to do a custom match against some dumb shit and pretend you were having fun. But with this, like the stickers are directly tied exactly to the campaign, the story mode. So it almost feels like a Smash Bros. RPG, which seems really cool. Yeah, so I'm very excited.
In which, as everyone I'm sure has mentioned constantly in all of your internet, it's everyone dies except for Kirby.
Yes,
Kirby is the hero that will save us all.
Yep, Kirby
and
fucking
thank God.
In the opening cutscene, Kirby's the only goddamn person to get away on a warp star, and it's incredible. It's so hype. You just gotta see it.
When
Kirby
is the release date?
Join forces to kill God again.
When's the release date again?
I believe it's sometime in December. I'm not sure when in December, but it's like early December.
All right.
So it's pretty close.
So quickly, I missed this earlier, but there's going to be a big 30 gig update for Fallout 76.
Yeah, I mentioned that while we were talking about Fallout 76.
So for the next couple betas, there's going to be a huge patch that's going to change presumably a lot. So
I sure hope so. I hope they add options.
Out.
I really hope they add push to talk, because they said they were going to add it to release. They might add it for the beta. It's a good stuff. Hopefully will come of it, but we won't see until tomorrow.
Thel, Path of Exile.
Oh, that was me actually.
Yeah, that was Dalsson.
Was that you?
But yeah, go on. I want him to say it.
Path of Exile has recently announced that they will be adding private leagues to the game. Essentially what this means is that you can pay microtransaction bucks to have a league, which is like a ladder of just you and your friends, and you can add all kinds of modifiers to these
That's really cool.
Like increased monster damage, or no player resistances, no using stashes, no using vendors. Life mana and energy shield do not refill when you go into town, all that kind of stuff. So you can like essentially custom build a league for Path of Exile for 120 microtransaction bucks, which I think is like, I don't know, it's kind of steep. It's like $25 or something, but it's you can pay to create this league that you and 10 friends can play, and you can pay to add more slots for people, more time, etc.
That's weird.
You and your friends can also like crowdfund a league. So if like you're playing with 5 people, you can each put in like $5 to it or whatever.
Oh, and it lets you crowdfund through the game?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, because I feel like the only real use something like this would have would be like a Discord or something doing their own exactly. Path of Exile league, but
people would do like, LAN servers and shit or whatever on Diablo all the time, or like private servers for Diablo that had like special rules and stuff, and they're basically
like those rules though you would have to hack into it, because those, like, this is cool because it's like an official, here's options you can toggle and stuff without having to fuck with things. Because
Yeah,
before
exactly.
you could adjust some of that stuff, but a lot of it was kind of hacky and like weird.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty.
So is that it, or can we move on?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh,
So last thing, Warframe
yeah, one more bit of news.
has a big update.
Warframe's Fortuna update is confirmed to be coming this week. So by the end of the week, you will get this Fortuna update, which we've been waiting for quite a long time. It comes with a lot of new cool features. I've talked about it before, so I just want to run through some of the things real quick. The first thing being the open world section of Venus, which is much larger than the open world section on Earth. In order to get around this open world section, they are adding hoverboards for your Warframe to ride. Customizable guns called kit guns, which are secondary weapons, and a companion that is a MOA, which is the little walker robots. So those are pretty cool. All really good shit, and you can customize your companion with like hats and stuff. It's nifty. Surely there's probably a bunch of other features that will be coming out with it, like, you know, content updates, balance changes, but obviously we're not going to. Yes, and the new Warframe Garuda, who I've been excited for because I like the name.
All right. Is there something else you wanted to say, Thel, before? Or are we done?
Oh, Path of Exile had they'd also announced that they're going to announce another expansion.
Whoopee.
Okay.
Yeah, whoopee. That's about it.
Does that surprise anyone though?
No, not really.
One more thing about Fortuna. This is not the same update as Railjack. This is not the fly around in your own personal spaceship and do space combat. It's not the same update.
Yeah, it's a different one.
If that was all you were excited for, that's not the one that's coming now.
Yeah.
That'll be later.
All right. So, that's it for this week. Let's talk about what we have coming up, and then we'll head out. So, right. Thel, you just came out with the Diablo video tonight.
Yeah.
That's up right now.
A couple hours ago. Yeah. I'm probably going to put out a Deltarune video on Friday.
Okay. Do we have another multiplayer game? Okay. Yeah, so Deltarune on Friday. Keep an eye out though, because there might be more. We have a lot of things going on right now up in the air.
Yeah,
so.
we're working on putting a lot more content on our channel, and but we don't know all of what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some of it, and we don't know when it's going to come out currently, but it's gonna come out at some point. Yeah.
Okay. What do you have coming up on your channel, Dalsson?
So for my normal solo streams, I intend to play more Prey. I just got into it, and man, am I loving it. On Thursday, there will be the last Fallout 76 beta, and I expect you two fuckers to be there, because I'm going to be streaming it, and you have...
Yeah. I'll try to be there.
And as far as that, that's as far as I plan for the Twitch channel.
Okay.
All right, so that's it for this week. We will see you guys next time, and remember, as always...
Stay beautiful.